Welcome back to Film Club, and we're doing Battle Royale. And I'm here, as always, with the usual, and there's somebody new, special guest, but Sandy Q and Jay, as always, and our little special guest, who's got a fun of knowledge and a lot of knowledge about this, Hamiara. So, how is everybody feeling about my pick, Battle Royale?
Good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, so I must say, don't ever Google Battle Royale because it kept coming stuff with Fortnite. You have to put in 2000. It was quite strange when I was speaking to my girlfriend. She literally was like, I thought it was older. It gets in your head. This is an older movie as the scene. It is. Yeah,
that's interesting because I noticed that myself. It's interesting.
Yeah, so it is. So we did a raw. We couldn't do dubbed, except for Sandy had a little look just for a laugh.
Both. I wanted to do a comparison. I'll tell you all about it later, but I wanted to compare. So I did both.
Yeah. So
Sandy learned why we don't do dubbed.
Oh, I already knew why we don't do dubbed, but my fears were verified.
Now, as when we start, there's only 2 on the panel seen it and 2 that didn't see it. So Sandy and Jay, you didn't see it. Now, for me, every time I watch this movie, I'm just going to quickly go in there. I forget how much I like this movie. I think it's very, very good. Now, that's all I'm going to say for now about that. But the other person on the panel and the special guest, in a very brief, why do you love this movie or don't like it? You never know. Quickly.
I mean, the sole fact, not including the one that I did for this stream, so I don't count that one. The sole fact that I've seen it 9 times should tell you whether or not I like it.
There you go. So, Sandy and Jay, this is things. When it came out, I know you both hadn't seen it, and a lot of it, if you read before Sandy read the book, is a lot of it seems to be blood and guts. What do you perceive the movie very, very quickly as you've seen it? Is it more? It's a more intelligent, or still blood and guts, a bit stupid?
Sandy, do you want to go first?
You want me to go first? Because I had listened to the audiobook first, I found it to be really intelligent and thoughtful rather than just crazy blood and guts. Now, the writer is a writer of horror fiction, but I think it's exceptionally well done. And we'll talk about some of the differences between the book and the film. But overall, I think the book set a really good stage for me to enjoy this film.
Yeah, we just say that. So anybody doesn't know, this is an original book before the things. And it was 90s, Sandy's going to say 95, 96?
1996.
So that to get bought, turn around to cinema 2000. That's quite, I think we've had, when we've had books to movies, they've been picked up quite quick. So this is another one, things. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name. Somebody help. We got somebody here.
Hoshin Takami's Battle Royale.
There we go. Perfect.
You're welcome.
So Jay, so that's what I'm just going to throw up. Dyslexic person speaking Japanese ain't going to help that
much. So for me, obviously this is my first time watching the movie. It unfortunately wasn't my first time taking in this concept because obviously now watching it, I can see what you meant when you said that Hunger Games really knocked off this, or ripped off this story rather, quite a bit. So, as much as I enjoyed watching it, I wished that I had never seen Hunger Games, just so I could, because conceptually it's a really interesting idea. And this movie does a great job with it, a far better job than Hunger Games did with it. And I just kind of wish I could have taken in this movie as a whole with getting that concept for the first time, because it really is super interesting in terms of like a social experiment or just kind of exploration of human behavior when thrown into these just bizarre, kind of outrageous situation. But
yeah, that is quite interesting because
yeah.
my girlfriend did it exactly the same way she watched the Hunger Games. I went, oh my God, stop. You got to watch this. Made her watch back to back. And then she didn't like the Hunger Games. She was like, oh my God, I don't like that as much as this. And that was kind of funny. It was that kind of like concept, like, oh, they've like one, you can tell they can where the rip-off bits are. And anybody, I can't see anybody like blinkered on and go, no, they're completely two separate bits. He's like, no, they're really on the nose, some of it. But yeah, I think, this does a very elegant way of doing it. And you can tell as well, it is a very Asian film, let's say that it's a very, this could be like a Korean, Japanese, like a Chinese film with like in that 1990s 2000s, because the budget, how it done, they work on every aspect, but they do it, I think, in a great like delivery. I suppose that's the best way until we get to it. So most of this I do actually like these ones where we've got panels like, let's say, like members who have not seen the movie, because I can just sit back and just little smile because I know what you're going to come back. So I'm guessing, as it was my pick, I've got to start us off, haven't I? So I've got to start us off. So Battle Royale. So I do like the opening scene because it sets it up to what you don't know what to expect. So we get a little bit of, I suppose, script of there's been a new act. Like, well, first of all, like the millennium has passed, so this is supposed to be, and it's everybody's like there's the government a bit pissed off with the youth of today, so they passed a new act called, I put it in there, it's the Millennial Educational Act, and it's nicknamed BR, and then it gets nicknamed Battle Royale. And then I did actually put it, Sandy, what I put in private comments, who's the music, and I will go about the music. Verdi, is it? It's like a very classical, very European, like dum, dum, like really in your face, like music to start you off, and then you get like the helicopter kind of scene come down, and then you get the first, I suppose, interaction that. This isn't I suppose you want to call it, isn't the first Hunger Games. Let's call it that. It's happened before. And then you kind of, you've got the press there. And then you get this. And I love this scene. Is where the press are trying to get in, the paparazzi, to get a picture. And they're just saying, she's smiling. And like it's a quite, I like the setup. And then
this is the most frightening scene of the film for me. This
was it.
Picture that you are showing now is the it sets the stage so disturbingly. It's a departure from the book, but I'm gonna have nightmares about this kid, not some of the other crazed murderers.
It is a good
kid.
Head down, looking, a little bit of a cheeky smile. It's quite good. So you get that, and then of course you get, I say, the music, and then you get I suppose the next scene, I don't know if I have to remember it, is the boy 15. What's his name in the main guy, the main boy?
Nanahara?
No, the main boy.
Nanahara Shuri.
Did I get it right, Hannah?
Oh, so here's the problem with that I will just share from reading the book. The book uses the first names, and the movie uses the surnames. So I'm probably going to be, I have my guide here. I printed off a guide because it's Shuyu Nanahara, but the film says Nanahara and the book says Shuya.
Yeah. Yep. So it sets it up quite well in a very a different culture aspect as well. If you don't know that culture as well, then the father, like, he walks in from home. There's a little bit of dialogue in the background, and he has hung himself. And he's written, I suppose, a suicide note on toilet paper, isn't it? And it runs back into the thing. And then, of course, boy 15, I'm going to call him, is that finds him. There's what is it called? You can do it or something. What's it? They keep on repeating it through things. Go get it or something. Isn't it? Go get it or go get it.
Shuya, you can do it.
Yeah, something
Which
like
is
that.
also what they cheered him on when he was playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's also what they were cheering. Go Shuya, go Shuya. You can.
Yeah, so that's there, and then it kind of just really, we go then into he like a little bit of his background. It doesn't really go into it that his mum left when like 4th grade, isn't it? And then his dad kind of hung himself. So it's setting up the scene of like he's now an orphan. You know, his mum's run off, I think they say, and yeah, the father, he's committed suicide. So on that, it's a good little setup of very very briefly of his insight, and then it goes into a little back scene as well. I can't remember if it was this bit or maybe it's later on with the teacher getting cut. Is it this bit or does it
goes into there now, and with the teacher getting cut, and then with Noriko picking up the knife, and I'm sorry, it's Nakagawa, but in the book it's Noriko.
Yes.
And I'll chat about that later. This scene really confuses me because of what happens in the book versus the film, and I think neither one resolve like what was that about? Because that was Nobu who did that. That was a student who just the next day would just carry on and come back to school. And everyone knew he did it. So you can stab a teacher and come back to school the next day. Anyway.
I
think that's quite a thing because it shows up, doesn't it? Like when just before the class is class B, isn't it? The one girl, I think it's girl 15, the one goes up, and the teacher says, "Oh no, it's go." Then he kind of runs out and he literally, like we find out later, it's a butterfly knife. We don't know what knife it is, but then she hides it, puts it behind her back, and the teacher just calmly after he gets kind of, I suppose, slice under the buttocks. I suppose that's the best way. Like really quite aggressively. There's a lot of blood, and he goes and just calmly washes his hand. I think it's a good scene setting up. There's this struggle with the kids because of they're showing that there's the Reform Act, I suppose, like that. This that BR Act they call it throughout the movie, and I think it just sets it up nicely to find out there is trouble between adults and the kids, and then of course you get the bus ride.
Yes, and so before we get to that one, there's a funny tidbit, because to answer the question, so you can just stab a teacher and come back to school? Normally, no.
Normally, no.
No. Even in this universe where this is happening, normally no. But because the teacher knows that the entire class is going to partake in the BR project, he lets it slide because, you're going to the island anyway. Have fun, my guy.
So, because that's Nobuyoshi Toki who stabs him, who is Shurya's friend, and who's the one who says to Shurya, "Take care of Noriko. Take care of her."
Yeah, but like under normal circumstances, no, that behavior would be punished. But the teacher already knows, no, the entire class is going to BR, and that's why he lets it slide, because it's like, okay, if I take you out of class, then you are not partaking in BR and don't get your potential punishment. So I rather keep you in and send you there, and then let's see what happens. Let's see how tough you are.
Smart.
See, and I actually took it as two things. One, I figured that this was probably the point where Nobu stopped going to school, because then we hear that he hasn't been to school in forever. So I just assumed he probably stopped at that point, so he's not going to be there to be able to be punished anyways. And then on top of that,
later you do find out though, don't you? We won't go skip ahead too much, but
you do
find out that he gets the note from the girl, isn't it? Like, look, we should all have our
bring him back type of thing.
Our last school trip before we kind of leave for the
next. Part of it too which is something I think we'll obviously touch on a little bit later. You do get a line from that teacher later in the movie where he says something like, I think he references that incident, and he says something along the lines of like, what's the point that kids can stab teachers nowadays and get away with the type of thing. So he's almost probably in that moment pretty given up in the idea that there's any punishment, that he can give that's going to do anything anyways. Plus part of what Hanayama is saying, whereas he probably knows the real punishments down the line regardless. So, there is no point in him trying to immediately punish Nobu on the spot there.
Because I always think, like, did he know? Because I always think there is a time gap between that scene and the bus scene because they have a different teacher.
Right, and they say it's what, seventh graders go on this, or is it freshmen go on this trip? And they say he was his 7th grade teacher, so I assume there's about a 2-year gap or something
2 years,
like that.
yeah, 9th grade to 7th grade, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so here's another tidbit that I don't know, and Sandy might correct me here if it's in the book or not, because I'm pretty certain it's not. But in the official manga that was released for Battle Royale, it stated that the classes know 3 years ahead of when they are going to get sent.
No. So in the book, it does go into how children are told about the program from the time they are very young, like 5 or 6, but they're not told that they're, that they're one of the classes selected. No, that's not
but the teachers. That's the thing. The teachers know the teachers know 3 years in advance if their class is getting sent or not.
Now, was that in the movie, Hana?
No, that's in the manga. It's in the, official manga. That's something I didn't.
So that makes what you're saying definitely sound like that was the idea behind it. In terms of him knowing, the fate of Nobu, anyways, or at least
that he's going to get.
That's something I wish they would have added into the movie. It would have been nice to have known that, actually. Well, I don't know if that was maybe just a detail they added later on at developing the manga story more, but that would have been.
I'm pretty sure because again, I have not read the book in forever, and if Sandy says it's also not in the book,
it's not.
Then they might have added that later for completion of why that happened.
Yeah,
but it's in the manga, which is still official material for the film. So there you go.
Interesting. So I guess in that
time
case,
well spent reading that.
If we're looking at it from the movie standpoint, just from when it came out, then it does leave a little bit of a plot hole in it that it sounds like, or at least that's some kind of hole in the storytelling that looks like they plugged up later in a pretty tight, nice little fashion.
Yeah,
it was opened and then plugged later, but I still think the movie kind of later on explains slightly.
I think with the explanation of him later kind of giving up on punishing students anyways, I think it still kind of works, at least to a degree, within the movie itself, but then they make it make more sense afterwards. Interesting.
So just for the years, because we talked about this. Oh, and I made a mistake on my slide, so please do forgive. The film was released in 2000. The book was published, I'm sorry, that should say 1996, not 1999. That would be an amazing turnaround if it was published in 99 and released in 2000. But the film was the book was 1996. And then Hana, I think we were talking about this before we went on stream, but Hana, so it was book, film, and then explain the manga. So the manga is a series, right, that came after the film?
Yeah, so the manga is one manga series. It's like it's start to finish one series. It's I believe like 8 volumes, 8 or 10. It's a round number, and the manga came out after the movie aired. So it came around, I want to say early 2001 ish, but definitely after the movie. The manga definitely came out after the movie.
And there's an article about how strict the age restrictions were on this film. It might have been one of the earlier films, or maybe, kind of a landmark film where there was strict requirements that you be 16 or older to see this film. So, and for the obvious reason, for the blood, guts, and gore, but maybe also to not give kids ideas. Who knows?
Yeah, well, the Japanese government were dead against it, weren't they? Trying to get it banned, and there was loads of just for the book as well, because of what it stated in the book. It was kind of for the time, literally I don't know the Japanese government at the time, but they weren't in the 90s, weren't very appreciated by the people. So they have a scene in the movie about.
Yeah, so about that little trivia note that yes. The majority of many people, not the majority, but many people of the current of the Japanese parliament at the time were not too keen on it. They tried to get the novel banned, but that ban failed in the parliamentary vote. Then they tried to get the film, once it released, banned. Also, that got shut down during parliamentary votes. And both of these attempts to cancel both the book and the movie actually made it so both the book and the movie became more successful domestically in the internet.
Yeah, that's what. But it happens. We've seen that even now. As soon as somebody tries to get something banned, and like for whatever injustice they believe. It makes it more popular.
Yes.
That's it.
And by the
It's
way,
free advertisement.
yeah, and by the way, if we're just counting domestic numbers, Battle Royale is still one of the top 10 highest grossing movies in Japan.
Mhm. And we'll get to all the awards that it won. I have a slide on all the awards that it won as well.
So
As you
let's
should.
go back to the thing. So I do like the transition on this film, this bit now of going, because we get the bus and they got the cookies. What is quite a very, I like this. If this is in the book, it's quite clever. I liked it in the movie with the cookies. I'm not going to go on for later with the cookies, but one of the girls, she has a bit of snippet for our main lead, and she has cooked some little cookies, and then she goes to give them, and then as they're about to hand them out, they do like this kind of like Polaroid picture that we see throughout the movie, but I don't think that is very relevant. But then the next bit is they go through a tunnel.
It is I think the Polaroid picture is relevant.
What in the
Yes.
movie?
Yeah, because
Okay.
because when the girl who's taking the picture, when she says, "Oh, look, it's done,"
Hmm.
and Nobu, oh heck, I forget his last name now. Yoshitoki, he says, "Oh, I'm not even in it," because his head was cut off.
Hmm.
And then you see Shuya and Noriko in the picture, and it was Koshitoki who liked Noriko, and he says, "I'm not even in the picture." And wow, I think that's kind of
Yeah,
prescient
yeah,
because
okay, yeah, I suppose.
he's not going to be in the picture, right? He's
Mm.
not going to
Mhm.
be in the picture.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I can see
I
that,
like
yeah.
that wording too. I didn't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
pick up on that. That's nice.
No, I must say I didn't know pick it up. But yeah, so the transition, I like this because it's very fast paced. Like until we've got very like you kind of got all the elements straight away. And what is this? This has got to be like 5-10 minutes into the film is where you know every element of what's going on into
Mhm.
this, and then they kind of just I showed it quickly earlier, but they're all asleep. So I'm guessing through the tunnel there's a gas element, and we see that by one of them waking up, and they get like it's kind of like two stewardesses, but they got respirators on, and then they go on, and literally he crawls back into the carriage, and then just gets clonked on the head, and then everything just goes a little bit nasty. Really, that's the best way to go, but in a very
Just a tiny bit.
intelligent way. Just a tiny bit. But I like this because it sets it up like it's unknown that you don't know what's going on, and the kids don't know really what's going on because it's all no. And I like how the scenes, the next come scenes is literally the first bits until I think he's one of the teachers or one of the like the military turn on the lights. It's all in the dark, so they get like they look outside, like they all start waking up, and they can see the military outside, and they're in like one single. It's kind of like I think they do say it's an abandoned school.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's literally they go with the teacher. Now I'm gonna now turn it over because I think now we get Battle Royale.
Well, can I? So the book is different. Obviously, I'm going to keep saying that. By the time they're in the bus, we're probably 4 chapters. Remember, this book is huge. This book is
Yes.
huge. So overall, I felt like this film was racing because there's so many more stories in the book than in the. You have stories about all 42 students in this book.
Yep.
What happens on the bus is you're hearing it from Shuya's perspective. He's watching people nod off and he's not understanding why. And he's now fighting to stay awake. And he notices out of the corner of his eye Shogo Kawada banging on the window and trying to break the window. So he's noticing someone who's still awake trying to get out, so he knows something is really, really wrong. But then he does fall asleep. No one comes and hits him. He just is overcome by the gas, as is Shogo. But he later remembers when they run into Shogo Kawada later and they join up. That's how they find out what his backstory is, because he knew what was happening and he was trying to get out of that bus. And so that scene is pretty well detailed in about a full chapter of the book. And here it was just really, super fast. And then boom, you're in the classroom. In the book, they wake up in the classroom seated at desks exactly like they would have been in Mr. Kitano's class.
Yes.
So they wake up and they almost think they're in the class, but that's how they are when they wake up.
Oh, that would have been a better scene, I must say. That would have been.
Yeah,
but short tidbit on that one, because up until 2002, Japanese movies were under a time constraint that they could run no longer than 115 minutes. The movie itself already is 113.
Oh
That's why certain scenes are shorter than they are, not because they got cut because they were unimportant or something, but movie mandated where your movie has to be 115 minutes or shorter. And that constraint was only lifted in 2002, and the movie came out in 2000. So that's one of the reasons why there are certain elements that feel kind of fast, even though they should be longer.
I definitely noticed that a bit throughout, some of the movie too. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah. Go on, who's going to take us on? So I do like how they introduce the transfers, I suppose, in the dark. They're like, who are they? They're like sitting in the back. They're fully awake, and they're like just calm in the kind of each left to right corner, aren't they? Until they they open the door, and then the teacher kind of walks in and kind of introduces the next moment. I do like this because it's all calm until it's not calm, and so I think
I really like this whole scene because it's really the setup of the entire movie. I mean, this scene gives you kind of the idea of what's going on, the battle royale. So you start to see some of the relationships between these different students, who's got maybe crushes on who or relationships with who. You're not getting a full detail of names and anything just yet. That kind of comes in later as you meet them and they start, let's say losing the game that they're playing. But you at least start to get the idea of, who's paired off with who might be friends with who. You're seeing their reaction and to kind of the whole situation they're being thrown into, which I think makes it nice because, or at least a nice blend, because this is a lot of exposition in this scene. I mean, you're getting the entire rundown of what the battle royale is, why these kids are here, more so than you have at least at any point of this movie. So the way they kind of blend it with the stories of, the students, obviously we're going to talk a little bit about what happens to Nobu here. But between their just general reactions to being there, and then this slow kind of understanding of like, oh crap, that means, I'm against my best friend or the girl I have a crush on. You kind of see them process and all that. It really just makes for an interesting setup scene for the premise of the movie.
Yeah. And speaking about the two transfers. So Sandy, do you want or should I?
Oh, go ahead. That's a big change. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Hana,
because I know, because it's all like it's in both materials. So in the novel as well as in the manga, it is stated that Kawara Shogo and Kuriyama Kazuo, or rather in the movie, it's Kawara Shogo and Kuriyama Kazuo are the transfer students. In the book and in the manga, only Kawara Shogo is the transfer student, and Kuriyama Kazuo is a class member and is leader of one of the delinquent gangs in the original school.
Yep.
So that's a change for the movie.
So as evil as we're going to find out that one of the two are, it's important to know that, Kazuo is part of the class. He's one of them.
Kuriyama sits there and be like, one of us.
One of us. I was going to say that.
But I do like this bit is like, even when it shows that the adult's now in charge, it's like when he throws the chalk at that girl and then she instantly throws up, that hurts, and like aggressive him, and he just pushes her away. Now we're in charge. You do what we say. And then I think that's now we've got that development setting of like, you're the kids, we're the adults. Now it's you time to listen to what we're gonna do. I like that kind of play, like very subtly, and it goes on to what's going to happen to a couple of them.
Yeah, and so also, and this will be important later. This in counting not counting Kitano, this is a 43-member class, and this will be important later.
I thought it was 42 in the movie, isn't it?
43.
Okay.
I knew it was 40 something. I couldn't remember exactly what. I also really love the kind of introduction video they do for this battle royale. The girl in it, the just bubbly, like everything's so cool. Great. Yeah, this chick. Her just
great.
doing it with this tone of just like as if it's this fun, like you ever do laser tag? I don't know if that's something where you guys are, Stasis
Yeah.
and Hana, but yeah, and you get those videos of like the instructor telling you how fun it's going to be and make sure you put your laser vest on and aim for the spots on the shoulders and all that stuff. She kind of had that vibe about her as if they were like kids about to go do something fun. And it was just such an interesting kind of tone change between, you know, the seriousness of, you know, having just seen Nobu, you know, have his collar go off. And then you just right back into this bubbly little, you know, instruction manual type thing. That I just thought it worked really well with the scene. It's part of what kind of makes that whole scene not feel like it's boring exposition.
But I like it because it's like that. It is like one of those classroom videos you get like at the end of term or whatever, and they make you sit for a stupid like a documentary one or something like, you know, at the time you didn't really care about, and the teacher's trying to make you interested. And I love it because he's like, "Say hello, everyone." He's like, "Yeah," on the corner. Then he's really relaxed about it. He's really being bubbly, and it's just like, yeah, I can understand. Like he's trying to still be a teacher, but of course he's now part of the organization that's behind this. But I love that little bit when he's just trying to, yeah, come on, give him a clap, and they're like, they know, they have the realization, oh shit. But I do this actress who's doing the TV the video bit, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, she's great.
So,
the whole thing is great.
Yeah, and by the way, speaking about her, because that's so the if you have this picture up, so the woman on screen is Miyamura Yuko, and Miyamura Yuko is, among others, the Japanese voice actress for Asuka Langley in Neon Genesis Evangelion and for Casca in Berserk.
No kidding.
Yes.
I was wondering if she was a game like a Japanese game show hostess, because she just had that vibe. I was wondering if you were going to say she's famous for that on TV.
Oh no, because and this is to me the more funny part. When it comes to film, she only ever did Battle Royale as the training video announcer.
Oh wow!
And then for the commercial for the end of Evangelion renewal series, she in person voiced Asuka Langley. But otherwise, she has only done voice acting work for animation films, anime in general, and for video game dubbing.
Interesting.
Well, she did a heck of a job here.
Yeah, it was quite. I like that because it gives you that little bit of humor before we get the first. I'm going to say knife scene. Let's go like that. So yeah, so one of the girls, I'm not too sure, 14 or whatever, kind of stands up after, like, he was telling them not to whisper, not to talk, listen to the thing, and we skipped over that. So, and he can hear the whispering, so he just pauses and then just literally dagger to the head. Literally, no, or throwing knife to the head.
Izumi is girl 5, if that's Izumi.
Is it? Yeah.
So no, if we're talking about the girl that gets the knife to the head from Kitano, that's girl 18. That's Fujiyoshi.
Okay. There you
go.
Oh,
okay.
I got all of them listed here.
I'm sure you do.
And there you go. That's what we need.
Yeah, and by the way, that's 41 to go.
So if I didn't say it at the beginning here, I can't remember what we talked about before we went live, but in the book, you're using the first names, but in the film you're using the surnames. Yep. And when I started reading the book, actually I almost quit after 2 chapters because there were so many names, and reading an audiobook was really hard to distinguish 42, 43, 45 different names. And then I was like, oh, I should have gotten a book. I should have got a paperback or a hard book so I could read the names. But so for anyone who's listening, don't give up after 2 chapters. If you have an audiobook, give it like 4 and it'll all come to you. Because you start to get these pictures of the students, and the book is so great at distinguishing all 40 plus of them. so that they don't all jumble together in your head. You have a backstory for every single one of them, and it helps you as you go through, the story. Now, the girl who gets the implement to the cranium, in the book, there's one before that. A girl is shot in the leg before that, and that's Noriko Nakagawa. She is the first one shot. She's shot in the leg. So her injury, her persistent injury in the book is not the shoulder injury, it's the leg injury. So it's just something to keep in mind. From the minute she's hobbling out of the school, she's got this leg injury.
Yeah, and she got shot for misbehaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking about the man on screen right now, so that's Kitano, and his actor also plays Chief Aramaki Daisuke in the 2017 live-action remake from Ghost in the Shell.
Yes,
indeed.
But I do like. Sorry, going back. Is this now the death? They all panic. He on screen, the teacher gets his revenge, I suppose, for the one who did stab him. He kind of, whilst the mayhem the kids are running, he actually grabs him and then does the slash under the buttocks, I suppose, of literally of the things, and then they all kind of panic, and then literally the military kind of get him in order, and it's just back to the show. I love it. And then they go, really, now this is the rules. They tell us about the zones, about their neck collar, and it's just like, and yeah, it's another way, easy, quick way of setting it up. These, you know the rules. It's very cleverly done. It's literally these are the rules. You're on an island, but you're all going to be drawn into each other. And I think they at this point they even say you have 3 days, so every zone. Once they get caught off, if you're caught in one of the zone, you're going to explode like that. And then just for we're going to demonstrate, let's say that, because he's pissed off blatantly of the kid who's back. He slashed him once. He probably he blatantly is not longer a teacher. He works for the organization, because there's a bit in it. He said I'm back to teach, class B, so it's like you can understand the time lapse of him no longer being a teacher, and then he just beep like that.
And then we say goodbye to boy number 7, Koninobu, because he gets his collar exploded, and then there were only 40.
Yeah. And this
didn't happen in the book. In the book, he wasn't. The collar didn't go off in the book.
Yeah.
He was just shot.
Yeah, but I do like it at the reaction of how this is shot as well. I think it's very intense, because you get the camera keeps on spinning whilst he's trying to pan in. Every kid that he goes near pushes him away. I don't want anything. I don't want to be in trouble, because of what's happening. And then pop, literally that's it. And then our main characters just gets covered. Who I'm guessing they. Best friends, I suppose,
They're
like
best
that.
friends.
They're best friends, and
They were in the orphanage together.
Yeah, what we find out, a little bit.
Yeah,
later, yeah.
Best friends, and it was just prior to the trip that Yoshitoki told Shuya that he liked Noriko, and if anything ever happens to her, take care of her. And so very, very emotional in the book for sure. A little different because it was different in the film. But because it was a completely different tone in the film, right? It was frantic and panic, whereas in the book he's just sitting there and boom, he's shot.
And then what happens, and then it wraps up for the lead into a little bit, is now they bring in the bags, two racks of, I suppose, duffel, like military style duffel bags. And this is where each bag, the television presenter, I suppose, each band will contain water, your basic supplies, your map, so you can map your zonal things like that. They even say, I think they even say that there's stuff for women, there's stuff for the girls. It's like that. it's like you like, and it goes on. There's a bit about that later, but then each weapon contains each bag contains a weapon, but not all weapons are guns or knives. Some might be good, some might be bad.
Some not so good. He says some might be good, some not so good.
I do like that, and it's literally so. They say it's like a random selection, except for one of them. But I like it with the TV presenter when she like with the axe. You got an axe, well done.
Not a good one.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and it's just like I love it because she's like really overly bubbly, like except for you're all going to die.
Like, but it's why her whole little bit works so well. Because keep in mind, we just saw Nobu's device go off, which was like a pretty gruesome scene and pretty intense with the emotion, and then just right back into this bubbly character to kind of change the tone like immediately. It just works so well.
Yeah, and also little fun note for the novel and manga comparison. They kept the explosion in the manga, so even in the manga version, the collar explodes and fucking blasts him. So they kept that one.
Yeah,
now
that one was not reverted.
There was also something else wheeled in just before the bags were wheeled in, and that was their former teacher.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Now in the book, 2 soldiers come in dragging bags, not on a rack. They drag a few bags in. In the book, you're grabbing your bag outside as you're running out the building, but the soldiers bring in a few bags, and one of them is larger, and they notice it's leaking. And when they undo this big duffel bag, their teacher is smushed into the duffel bag because he had resisted.
Yep, he was against sending the class to BR. And once your class is selected, you do not disapprove of the selection process. Your class has been selected. You say, "Aight," you sign the papers, and then your job is done. He wasn't too keen on this. And that's what happens when you defy selection process.
Made an example of him.
Yup.
And they highlight that too. The teacher Kitano puts that little quote in there too. Something like, he was a bad adult. Don't grow up to be a bad adult and be like him or whatever it was. Which I just thought was funny because it's to a room full of 43 students who only one of them is going to come out of. So like even to this very last point, he's still taking that chance to try to teach these kids almost out of spite, I think, more than actually trying to teach them. But just to kind of prove the point and drive it home.
Yeah, but you know what the funny lesson is that he tries to teach them here? Mm-hmm. The teacher got punished because he was against his class being selected, which is government approved. So the lesson that he's speaking of is don't speak against the government.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ironic when you just found out that the government's putting you into a battle royale.
Kind of.
Again, there's a lot of it's a lot of clever kind of scene set up in the way they do things in this movie that I appreciated.
But I like they do the numbering because it gets you to know, as you said, Jay, you kind of get the names of the numbers as well as the names associated with them. So even if you can't pronounce it, I think it's very cleverly done. That must have been, if it's it, I guess it's in the book, but it does help the international market for a movie wise, because you can my Japanese is terrible. I'm not liking that 0%, but to have boy 1, girl 1, and you get the faces. Then you get that kind of similar like that, and later on you kind of get it as well when they do the announcements. But I think it's quite easily for the first ones, and then they call it the transfers. Is when they get to the transfers as well. Their numbers, who they are, and how calm they are. Like the I suppose the psycho, it just waltzes up to him. Everybody else is like scared, panicking, get their bags, and he just calmly, I'm just going to calmly do this,
And for me, he was the most different from the book to the film, because in the film, it was, like I said, it is clear that he is an outsider, and to your point, a psycho. But in the book, he's one of them and is just the gangster that he wanted to always be. And they're very different characterizations. And even as we go through, and part of the reason why I said I had listened to the audiobook, then I watched the film, then I re-listened to the last chapter, I rewatched the last chapter of the film, all because of that character, because of the differences at the end of the film for that character.
This character, yeah.
That guy right there.
Our main man, Kuriyama.
Kiriyama is very different in the book. Does the same thing, has the same weapon, primarily, but is described differently. And again, he's one of them. He's the leader of the gang inside. But the very first thing he does as leader of the gang will shape what he does in the book. And at this point in the film, as they start to read the names and hand off the backpacks, this is again one of those parts that, wow, this went by so fast, because in the book, this is where you're getting more description of every single character. So you're spending pages and pages on each character, and here it's name, run, name, bag, run, name, bag, run. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is going so fast. I want more, slow down.
Yeah, and this is once again the early 2000s time constraint for Japanese live action movies. Specifically, by the way, the time constraint was only for live action movies, because you had animated movies that went over 115 minutes even before 2000, but live action movies were restricted to 115 minutes of runtime. And also another funny little bit with Kuriyama Kazuo. In the manga is actually the perfect blend of the movie and the book version. He is one of them. He is a gang leader, but he still has some of the book tendencies. So he is a blend of both that still belongs to the original class.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yes. Told you, I got notes.
So I'm happy to now know that there was this time constraint on the movie, because it really does make me appreciate even more some of the stuff that I already liked. For example, in that scene there, it sounds like, by what Sandy and Hannah are saying, you know, the way that they have those kids, or the students, grab their bags is a little bit more in depth, and you find out a little bit more about the characters. Versus here, it's a very, like you said, quick scene where they're just kind of getting called up, getting their bags and going. But there were little things they did for, you know, like, for example, there was a couple, I never even got the numbers, or I never even, like, I know they say it, but I never really registered the number of each part of the couple. It was a boy and a girl. Never got their names. And if they did mention it, again, the scene's kind of just so much happening. So if they did mention it and I just missed it, the more important thing to catch was the fact that they were this little couple. They had this emotional kind of little separation where, like I said, didn't catch their name, didn't catch their number, but I knew exactly who it was when time comes around for their scene, you know, that we'll talk about with, I think it's them two on the edge of a cliff. You know, we know what happens there. So the way that they set up, given that background to them in a brief split second kind of little interaction that we see them on screen, was a really clever way to work within the time constraints put on them. So just now, even more so, I like that in the first place. To know that that was their quick way of summing up that part of the book was even more impressive.
So they quickly, I suppose, get to our main boy, I suppose, and he goes outside, and I like how he kind of just goes on the heap onto the floor to kind of sort himself out, and then you kind of get this movie, some of the death. So girl, I'm guessing it's girl 1 or 2, I can't remember, like that, comes in with a cross arrow bow like through her neck, and he's like and he's like, and she's like, stumbling towards him. It's like, I like that scene, because you're like, okay, this is where this is going to go now.
Yeah, so that's girl 14, that is Tendo, and Tendo got shot by Akamatsu.
That's got boy 1, wasn't it? Boy 1, he found out he's the chubby one at the start. He looks a bit nerdy, and he goes like that, and I like it, like, because then our guy runs off, he drops his crossbow, then the other boy picks it up, who's a bit innocent. And he's like, "Oh, what's going? Like, what were you doing?" And then he just falls to the ground and then pops on off. And then he's got his crossbow, and boy number 1 dies. It's like, oh, like, probably like you can tell. Okay, you were,
So and then and that is boy number 1 exactly. That is Akamatsu who gets an arrow through the chest, even though technically speaking accidentally, but he gets shot by Niida.
And then
with that one, it's only 38 left.
Yeah, and then you've got boy 15 with girl 15. They're the ones in the photograph. What's coincidences? They go into like a cave, go into like the beach area and go into a cave, and then you get a little bit more of a backstory. They go like a flashback of her getting locked in lavatory in the girls' cubicles, being kind of bullied. That I think they write on the wall, don't they? And it like she's sat there, they block her in, to say that she's ugly and something else. There's like a
short, I think. Short,
something like and ugly, yeah. And then they go into now the orphanage, I suppose, like that. We're in like a bunk bed. He's playing the guitar, our main guy, and it's the one who he's his best friend. You've just seen his collar just blown off, and they have a little bit of a thing, and then you kind of get that. It's kind of him like, oh, who do you fancy? What's your kind? Who do you like now? And like the other one might answer, and you go, well, I like such and such, and you're like, kind of, it's like it just gives that nice little bit of like backstory before you jump back into what's going on. And then I think it's this, he opens, like they go back into the cave and he opens up that his weapon is a like was a lid to a pot, and she's got binoculars, slightly better. He might be a bit useful, but they both got like absolutely crap weapons, and it's just like that. So it's a good little, oh no, yep, you picked the wrong bags, and you're our leads, I suppose, like that. It's straight away that these are.
Yeah. So in the manga version, the way they bully her basically for being short and shit, they literally in the manga call her a goblin.
Oh, nice.
They literally call her a goblin because goblins are, technically speaking, short and ugly.
Yeah.
They literally call her a goblin.
I want to know, this is where I like to know if it's in the manga and in the book, is now we've had the introduction of the cookies. Now in the cave, she prominently says you didn't even get to eat my cookies. And then you get I suppose it's the control room, and the teacher is laying down and he's got he's just eating the cookies. Is that in the book? No cookies in the book. I love that, like they just introduced. Let's have a look. Just cook this theme of the cookies till the end. Yeah. It's just, I think it's quite amusing.
No cookies in the book. Cookies in the manga. Yes, he's a dick, steals them and eats them.
I just love that. I find it quite amusing that it's one of the first ones with everybody together, and it's right to the end, and that's it. But then, yeah, it starts to like, I suppose because it's dark. Was it 1:40 a.m.? It starts. I think like the timing, something like that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
So on that, production trivia. Not one shot was actually shot at night. They all filmed during the day, and that's all post-editing.
Wow.
So
they just put like the dark filter over it to make it. That's quite clever.
Wow, because
honestly, never noticed.
Yeah, there's a couple big scenery scenes that are, we talked about the cliff. We haven't talked about it yet, but we referenced the cliff, and then the first scene with Kuriyama are both very soon, coming up very soon, and definitely at night. So that's interesting.
Yep. So there were
Abe knows day to night filming.
So there were night shots taken, but with none of the actors. They just filmed at night, and then in post, the scenes got edited into the night shots where they were happening, and then only filtered to color correct to the original night shot. But no action shot itself was filmed during night scene. They were all filmed at daytime. It's all editing. And the fact that nobody could tell that shows them how good the editing was.
No, not at all.
Yeah. No, I would have thought that is actually quite a good nice little fact. But yeah, so the next one we've got our main the main transfer, I suppose you call it. Let's bring it up again. So
our main man, Kuriyama.
This is probably the actual scene, the actual picture. Like he gets surrounded by
5 people.
Like what's 5? Is it 5? Yeah, and they kind of, instead of like ending him, they chat too much. It's one of those scenes in any movie where you're like, oh my god, just pull the trigger while he's talking. Don't talk.
Which we'll see that again later on too.
Yeah, and so he kind of manages to snatch the weapon and just ends them. That's it.
Yep.
It's a very
And so-
potent scene that
So do you want the list?
He's the hard one. Go on.
Okay, so we get Boy 9, which is Kuronaga, Boy 10, which is Sasagawa, Boy 14, which is Tsukioka, Boy 17, which is Numai, and Girl 5, which is Kanai, all get shot by Kuriyama. And then there were 33.
And it was actually easy in the book, not because they were too trusting and chatting too much to a stranger. In the book, Kuriyama had figured out how to slip little notes to them because they were in his gang and said, go to the southern tip of the island. He just said southern tip. So since they all had maps, they knew how to get to the southern tip, that he was going to round the gang up there, right? And this is their gang leader. So yes, we're all going to round up there. And they all show up, and he shows up, and he mows them all down. One escapes, but he mows down his own gang. And they don't even have their weapons up because he's their leader. What are they got to put their weapons up for? Hey, what's the plan, dude? And he mows them down.
Yep, because, and this is further elaborated in the manga, where he slips them the notes, everybody's meeting, and Kuriyama knows, like, he understands the gravitas of the situation, and is like, okay, I know what all of you can do, and for me to win and live, you are all dead meat, and that's why he shoots them. Because he knows they cannot pack the situation, and he can because he doesn't care, and that's why he just mows them down.
Yeah, in the movie, it's very different. It's just like he's been kind of trapped in that, and he just managed to get his way out. And then you have what Jay. The next two scenes I like is one, we get introduced to a character, but now we get also the impact at the two like Jay talked about at the cliff. So Jay, do you want to, as you brought it up?
Yeah. So we start to see, all these different kids and characters, and they're taking the, situation differently. This too specifically was kind of the payoff of some of the setup in that initial scene where they're all kind of going out, where we see a young couple decide neither one of them wants to play the game. One, for the sake of, I think the girl says something along the lines of, not wanting to play the game, at least. For the sake of one, not wanting to, at some point have to kill each other, and two, just not having the guts to really, not that it's guts per se, but the stomach to be able to, go after any of their other classmates. So they then, I think, become the first two in the movie to self-delete to get out of the game.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, and the two in question are Boy 21, which is Yamamoto, and Girl 4, which is Ogawa. And they look down the cliff and be like, you know what? Screw it.
Yeah, you got to figure they're either boyfriend and girlfriend, or he's got a big crush on her.
Yeah, one of the two.
It's one of the two. It's like that. Oh yeah, because he's literally a bit in denial. She's very mindset. This is what I'm gonna do, and then she's like, "Come on, we got to do this." They're not gonna do it to us, kind of things. Like that.
There was some quote about that. I did think for a split second, honestly, that she was going to kind of trick him into getting to the edge of the cliff and then push him off.
I'm pushing.
I thought it would have made for such a kind of shocking little twist to that scene, because again, this was the two that you saw in the classroom scene seem really distraught about being taken apart from each other.
So
I thought that would have been a cool twist, but I did also kind of like the idea that it was just an honorable way to go out.
So, and now I need to ask Sandy. So Yamamoto and Ogawa, when they go cliff diving, any specific dialogue note that you remember from the book?
Oh heck, I don't remember specific words, but we do get some backstory on them. So in the book, because you're getting backstory on every single character, you do know that they are totally devoted to each other. And in the film, you do see a little hesitance on the part of the boy, where the girl is calm. In the book, they're both very calm. And I can't remember, Hana, is there a specific phrase that you recall?
Yeah, because in the manga there is dialogue, because so Ogawa tells Yamamoto that she does not want to kill or attack any of her classmates. And then Yamamoto takes her hands and says that her hands were because fun fact, I don't know if it's mentioned in the book, she wants to become a nurse. And so Yamamoto tells her that her hands were meant to protect and not to kill.
Yeah.
And that's when they go fucking cliff diving.
Yep. I didn't remember that, but that's true, because as you're getting the backstory, you're finding out from several of them what they had hoped to be, when they got older and when they, became adults. And oh yeah, it was such a well done scene in the book. And I think in the film too. I think it was very well done. Although rushed, I think that was the scene where, just a few minutes into the film and already they're gone. And I was like, whoa, that's like chapter 14 in the book. Now the book has 72 chapters. I think it's 72 chapters. But it was like, whoa, that's quite a ways into the book. And wow, a lot of classmates are gone already.
So we're down to 31 and goddamn time constraints.
Just really quickly before we go back, Still Local History has just become a member of the channel, and thank you for that. Thank you very much for the kind words in chat, I must say as well. So, but thank you for becoming a member. So the next one, I do like this character. I must say, I'm going to bring it like that. Is the next one we get? I suppose like a Polaroids, I suppose, like that. There's a girl in a cabin looking at Polaroids, and this was just because I thought it was a scary picture, not like the most attractive picture of the main, I suppose the main girl, I suppose the main psychopath girk, I suppose
the main psychopath girl for sure, Mitsuri.
Yeah, I like her. I like her introduction. Unfortunately, this is my favorite character. Like that one. And it's like, I think she plays it really well. The kind of thing you can find the divide, and she's got a good weapon. And I think she finds out when she goes, I thought I had a crap weapon, but it's done for me so well, or something like that so far. And then you get her back and forth with the girl, and then she kind of stupidly hands over her. She's got like I suppose like a
taser,
a hand taser, I suppose you want to call it. And then they have a bit of back and forth, and then she kind of manipulates her, then wrestles her. She gets her to the ground, and then there's a quick flash to two other people who have hung themselves, another boy and girl couple, and she said, I saw them next door. They jump straight back into her kind of literally. I like this kill scene because they're struggling, but she just literally slowly slits her throat with it. I guess it's a farm instrument, but I can't remember what it's called.
It's a sickle.
It's a
sickle. It's a small. Is it a sickle? Because it's very small sickle, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's called a kama, which is a garden sickle used for like when you have like very small seasoning flowers in the garden. And the two that basically played hangman for real were boy number 8, which is Kuramoto, and girl number 21, which is Yoshihime. So and then obviously girl number 3, Megami, gets sliced and diced by Mitsuko, and we're down to 28.
Yeah, I like her introduction. I like this, like that. You know, when you want to scare somebody, like you put your camera, like you talk out to your face because you look a bit spooky. I did like this, so I did like how her introduction was like, she's one not to be messed with.
The next one is my favorite from the manga. The next one is literally my favorite from the manga.
But the next bit you get now, it's now morning. The teacher goes over to Tannoy. I think you get some more classical music. I can't remember who it is now. You get some Johann Strauss, Strats or whatever, like that. I can't remember who it is. But then you get kind of the daily report of who's stuffed it the night before. And I like this bit, and I don't know if anybody recognized this. I think it is like who died, and when the first report, and then he goes on who got killed, and then I think he just goes on to who like snuffed it, kind of thing like that. He's explanation like explaining them like how he got it kind of gets a bit more iffy. It's like that. I don't care, but like you get that, and then you get the first So you get the first body count of who's going there. It's quite a lot in the first, I suppose this would be the first 5 hours, really. And then I think you get our main couple going out of the cliff, and then it kind of shows other people. You got, I'm sure it's the girl who's just done that, is doing her like washed her hair, doing her eyelashes, like just just doing like normal kind of day stuff. And then they go, it's the mapping. It's now they give the first zonals to check off. It's like that. So then they start to map down. It's like, yeah, listen up, everyone. You've got to be now ready for that. And now it's kind of because now they're all moving. It's the next, I suppose, accidental bump into. Is it this one? Oh, I can't remember. Have we? I don't know if we missed a bit. No, we haven't. I can't remember. Is this now where they jump into the guy with the axe? He's hiding. Is it now, or like Hatchet? Yeah. So he's hiding in a bush. Our couple comes past and he jumps out and attacks them with a hatchet. That's the only things I say it's a little bit of a silly scene. I like it because it just shows like so they have they have a bit of a wrestling match, I suppose, like that. They fall down a little bit of a ditch, a hillside, or whatever you want to call it. And then what number is he or name?
So it's boy number 3, Oki, who had the axe.
Oki.
That's Oki.
So he then, I don't know how it happened. You don't see it, and that's why they call it an accident throughout the movie. He gets the hatchet in the head, literally, and then boy, he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Are you okay?" And he's got this literally a hatchet in the head.
The visual,
you're like, oh, okay.
That one was not an accident.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's like, okay, but yeah, from that, and then it goes straight in from them going that, and then another boy turns up with a pistol, a revolver of some kind, and he terrible shot. He fires, misses, and then our other transfer comes down from the hill, and he's got an automatic rifle of some kind. And then he storms him like that. It's something like out of Glory or something. He like storms up the hill, and it's like really stupid. Like the guy's gonna blatantly take him out, and then so he literally shoots him, and then when he
Kawara has a shotgun, and he blasts
shotgun.
So and he blasts Motobushi, who is boy number 20. Before we move on, though, the axe incident, let's call it. Sandy, how was the axe incident described in the book? Do you remember?
I thought it was pretty much like the film. I thought it did feel like an accident as they were tumbling, and then they got up and there was an axe in his head. He didn't get up though. It wasn't. I think he was just dead. I can't remember though.
Yeah. So because in the manga, when they wrestle and they fall down, because obviously Oki gets axed by Nanahara, by our main man, and but he revisits the words from Kuninobu to protect Nakagawa, and so when they fall down, he spots the axe already landing on the. So the axe lands basically first, and he purposefully rolls him into the axe because he's a threat to Nakagawa, and so he purposefully rolls his head into the axe when they land.
So he does. I think in the book it was definitely an accident, but I like that flash of, hey, I do have to do this here, and boom, push him on the. I think both of them work. I think they're both good scenes. Now, Stasis, before you mentioned Kuriyama and who he's just blasted away just after this in the film. In the book, the two girls with the bullhorn, or whatever you guys call it, a tannoy, whatever you call that thing, loudspeaker, that's That's a very long scene in the book. It's very well set up. The two of them are talking, and this is it, wait a minute, Yumiko and Yukiko. They are talking to each other for quite a long time about what can we do. They are on a platform on top of a hill. There's a little hut, and one of them, their weapon is this loudspeaker, and they've decided that the best thing they could do is just tell everyone that we're not playing the game, because they're convinced that most of their fellow students don't want any part of this, and they're convinced that everyone is probably reacting out of fear and anxiety. And if we can just tell everyone it's all going to be okay, please come here, then we can get everyone together and figure out a way to get out. So they decide that's what they're going to do, and they start calling from the top of this platform. Well, other people around the island obviously are hearing it. And Shogo, and I think we've just run into Shogo now after the accident. It's an incident. He realizes this is a really bad idea, and we don't want to draw anyone, to this one place. And then that's when Kuriyama. That's the first time that the players hear the machine gun that he has, and they call it the rat-tat-tat of a typewriter. It sounds like an old typewriter, rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. And it was a big scene because many people witnessed the two girls, Yukiko and Yumiko, being killed in that way. Here, they just kind of show up. You hear them shout, they're done, and then Kuriyama is over their body and moves the loudspeaker to the one girl's face so that it can be broadcast. She's kind of yelling in pain.
But there's that, just so, but before that, in the movie, I like it how our transfer, I'm going to call him transfer, does literally ask our two main people, boy 15, the girl 15, is what weapon you've got if they're a threat. And of course they haven't got a weapon. And then even when they start doing the tannoy, loudspeaker, he gives a shotgun blast, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like it gives a warning of like that. And then of course, then that's when it all kicks off. Back to that bit. I like that. You can see he's got a bit of nobility,
hesitation.
You're not. I don't have to kill you now because you're not a threat to me.
Yeah,
it's kind of false chivalry of
yes.
You're literally unarmed. I don't need to shoot you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the two girls that are getting mowed down by Kuriyama are girls 6 and 7, Yukiko and Kusaka. And for those counting, we are down to 24.
Yeah, but I do like with the speaker when he's over it and he puts it to her mouth just while she's in pain, so everybody else can hear. And that just shows the psychopath he is, because he could have like walked away, let her bleed out. She's dying anyway, but he just wanted that. Everybody and anybody that can hear this, what is happens if you come near me. So he's also sending a message to every other player.
Yep, he's like, you do not play with Kuriyama.
Yeah. So after that, I think we got a lot of deaths. We go back now to I think the next announcements, is it, or like some music? I can't remember, like a bit of both, I think. And then
it's the next. It's 12. What is it? Noon?
12. Yeah. So you get that.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you get kind of our psychopath girl. She, I suppose, accidentally walks into another girl who blatantly didn't get on well at school, and one of the other one, what girl it is, because I think she's got a pistol.
Yep.
And that's it. So she's got a pistol. She kind of disarms. What was her name? The one with the sickle.
Well, the one with the sickle is
Mitsuko.
Mitsuko, and this is Hirono, who is in this room.
So they have a nice little back and forth. It's like one of them. I think she's instigating that she's a bit of a whore, like that at school. She kind of says you slept with everyone and all that, and then she has a thing with a tampon comment and stuff like that, and it's just a bit, so she knows who she did kill and who was there, because she knew that at school she took one from the toiletries, I suppose, like that. So she knows that it was her that killed the girl with the
Taser.
taser. So it's like that. So she's trying to now get her own back. And there's it. I like this because it's like she like acts within acting. Let's say that is like she plays the I'm the victim, goes down like on her knees, like cries out like for kind of her life until she's waiting for that one moment, that one mistake. And I find I like this scene. I do. I think it plays up to her character well. But what are we going to get from her? And I'm guessing she's very interested in the book as well.
In the book, you find out that acting is part of. You get a ton of her backstory in the book. She is a prostitute. She was sold into prostitution when she was a young girl. And you do see that in the film when you see her mother handing money over when she's a little girl and the man with the mustache taking her away. So her mother sold her into prostitution. I can't figure out why she's in school, but well, in the book, she does describe making money from what she does, but she has a particular talent as a prostitute. And her particular talent is she can make herself cry at will because men like to think that they're hurting her when they're not, but she can cry at will. And that her acting ability certainly does play a part in how this story
that would have made it a very, very, if they introduced that, and would have made it a very much very dark movie, like that parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is girl 10, Hirono, who again gets shot twice by Mitsuko. And we are down to 23.
Now, the next, now it's quite interesting that you said it was because I think this is where kind of sepsis happens, like early signs, because this is where our girl 15 with the boy 15, she falls down. She's really dizzy, really exhausted, and it's from the shot in the arm. But is that also then in the book or how is this played out in the book compared to the film? Because now they're looking, and there must have been a place on the map that says hospital or something like that, medical center, because they blatantly go straight to the place. But is this played out in the book or the manga?
It is in the book, but it's her leg. It's from being shot because she was
so
shot.
It's still sepsis. It's still
they think it is, and this is where Shogo, of his many sayings, my father is a chef, my father is a fisherman, my father is a doctor working in a clinic. So wow, and you find out later why he has all these skills, but it's not because his father is this, that, or the other. But he has a lot of survival skills. In the book, they're in a different place, but he goes to a clinic and brings back stuff. So they're not, I don't think they're actually in the clinic at this point. Later in the book, and this is where it was probably condensed, right? Because later in the book, they've got to get her to the clinic because she's really bad off. Here, she recovers, Hana, and that she recovers quite miraculously and quickly here. Whereas in the book, there's quite a long time when she's on death's door and they're dragging her around and they got to get her to the clinic.
Yeah. And once again, we can yell at the cloud and be goddamn time constraints. Because even in the manga, the recovery time is far longer. But again, 115 minutes. Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and now I think so. You get that he gets some rice on, doesn't he? And now you get an introduction of the nerds that kind of saved the day. Let's say that. So this is
God bless Shinji and his crew of nerds. Oh my gosh, I think I love these characters more than any in the book. I love these guys. I really do.
Go on and explain, because their story, like one of them. And I go through one scene in particular, but I suppose they're the backstory within the movie. They're there and they're working, but are they more prominent in the books then?
Because they get to bring their bag of personal belongings in the book. In here too. So one of them has his laptop and phone, and it was a thing where and several of the students commented that they don't have cell phones as a norm like like kids would do today, but there were a few kids that had them because their parents wanted them to have a phone while they went off on this trip, so for a special occasion or whatever. But Shinji, he's also a great friend to Shuya, to Hiroki. They're the jocks, right? They're the athletes, but Shinji is also super duper smart, and he's a hacker. And so he's been doing things in his, prior to Battle Royale life, to mask his hacking, and he's created like burner phone accounts and burner phone numbers that can't be traced. So he's already got all this programmed into his phone and into his laptop. And now he's just going to flip it to use against the system here. Obviously in the film, they really shortcut how they did, because it seems this in the film, it probably seems really completely outlandish. It's a little more understandable in the book. It's a little more plausible. They do talk about hooking up to the big truck engine that they're hauling up the steps. That's the engine to try to, power up the computer and the phone. The plan in the book is different. It's not just to take down the computer system. It's to, and you see them building bombs in the film. In the book, it's a little more complicated than that. They can't get close to the school building at all. In the book, they're going to string a wire from the top of a hill over the school into the next zone and wire drop these bombs and kind of, try to, like a zip line from the top. They're going to drop them down, and then they're going to yank on a string on a pulley and drop them over the school building. And that's what they were planning to do. In the book, they don't get as far as they get with their plan in the film. I'll just put it there. But they get derailed a lot sooner, which is not depicted in the film. So Hannah, in the book, right after they go through all this, the government, they know sooner, I feel, that they're being hacked, and they are able to turn it around on the hackers much quicker. In the film, I think they make it work a little better in the hackers' favor. What do you think about that?
In the movie, they make it. The movie definitely portrays it to be more in the hacker's favor. And once again, the manga meets in the middle, where they not make it quite as easy as in the movie, but they still make it further as in the book to explain a bit better. Like, because the book makes it seem really like, okay, we're hacking them, and they immediately know and shut that shit down.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, they get far further. And the manga once again meets in the middle, and it's like, okay, they don't realize immediately, but they don't get all this shit done that easily that they actually get done.
Okay.
But I also got two funny tidbits for you here. So, Mamura Shinji, who is played by Tsukamoto Takashi, is the Japanese dubbed voice for Lieutenant Pete Maverick in the 2005 Japanese remake, re-release of Top Gun.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so that's number one. So he voices Tom Cruise's character.
That is amazing. I really liked his character. I loved Shinji in the book. I resonated with the gang of nerds and loved his character. Him and Hiroki too. I think Hiroki was done a big disservice in the film. I mean, obviously you have to cut out the stories of a lot of characters in the film. I think Hiroki and the way he ended, which is the same as the book, but you wanted to know more about how he got there, but I'll hold on that.
Yeah. So, and then the second tidbit is the magazine that contains the bomb making instructions that is used by Shinji.
Tick tick. What's it called? Tick tick.
So the magazine is called Hara Hara Toki, which is translated as the ticking clock.
That's it.
This magazine is a real bomb making magazine. No, wait. So this is a real bomb making magazine that was published by an anti-Japanese government activist group called the Higashi Aya, and was published in the 1970s.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
So,
a how-to to make improvised explosives.
Yes, that was a real bomb-making book.
Yeah.
So Jay, since
know
you didn't read the book and then seeing the film was your first exposure, so this part of the story, you know, it's a little bit of war games. It's a little bit, how did it seem really outlandish, the hackers taking down this system?
You know, it did to a degree, but not enough to pull me out of it. Because the whole scenario is kind of out there and outlandish in terms of, you know, just the story itself, this island, these kids, this battle royale. I was able to kind of suspend disbelief enough to just like enjoy that that's their skill set in this whole situation.
Yeah, but I'm not saying there's always that one kid in your class who's really good at computers.
Yeah, and I think
There was
that's
always
about
that
it
one,
that makes it like,
Yeah.
okay, I can put this in the realm of, you know, I can suspend disbelief here because there is always that one kid and or you know, few kids in class who are you know, the little the early engineers that know how to do all these things and they're computer whizzes and all that. So
So he
I
gives
like
them,
how it worked.
Yeah, so he gives the other, I suppose, nerds the task of fertilizer, charcoal, methane. I can't remember all the
Kerosene.
Yeah,
Kerosene,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, how am I going to get that? And it's quite fun. But then we get a little scene of a. Now, I recognize the face. I can remember the movie she was in, and I'll bring it up in a minute. But so we get the. Now, if this is a coincidence, it's a coincidence. Once you realize,
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I know
who's
you're gonna get. You know what's coming.
Who's coming.
Coming. So you get the scene of a girl training. She's running. She's got the guy behind her who's doing a bike, and it looks like it's a flashback. But then you find out she turns to go up a. It looks like a small shack up the top, and the guy is no longer there. They have a little bit of briefing, but. What I want to bring up, do you recognize her?
Yes.
Except for you.
Yes, I do.
And then when you realize she's wearing yellow.
I was gonna say, is she the girl in Kill Bill that's with the is it the mace? The thing that's like she's kicking around with her foot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought so.
wow.
Yeah.
I would have had no idea.
Yeah, so that is so
that
in the movie that is Chigusa Takako. And she plays Yubari Gogo in Kill Bill Volume 1. Yes,
where she's wearing
it's literally all you need to do is cut the hair off on both sides. Give her a bob cut.
So that's it. She's wearing a yellow tracksuit, Kill Bill, yellow suit. And I was like, I was like, oh my god, what's she been? And it bugged me until
I honestly didn't pick up on it while watching, but the second I saw this picture, I can see it vividly.
Yeah, you can see it in the air. You can see that kind of that just expression of her face as well. But I find the thing is I like this scene. I like that because now you get introduced back to the first boy that kills number one, and he comes in with the crossbow, and then he pops out of nowhere. He's blatantly infatuated with her, and she kind of has a bit of back and forth. She tries to walk away. It says, you kind of disgust me, kind of thing. So there's a little bit of history now. And I think this is probably the most brutal death in the movie.
And in the manga.
Yeah.
In the manga, yeah. So who's going to take us through this next scene? Because this is a good one. I'm going to go for that.
I will tell you it's worse in the book. So go ahead and go through the scene in the film, and then I'll tell you how the book is even.
Go on, worse. Jay. You can go through the scene, and then let these two book and manga.
So this kid who seems to be very obsessed with this girl comes kind of into play, and he's still got, like Stasis said, the crossbow. And essentially he starts kind of propositioning her with well, no, I think first he comes out of it and she kind of calls him out on some creepy, weird thing. I think he was making up rumors that everybody was talking about and all this kind of stuff. And, she's kind of telling him essentially that he's a creep and wants nothing to do with her. He starts becoming threatening, saying, well, I think he propositions her at first with the whole, what if this is the only chance you get in life to, I'm trying to think of the proper YouTube way to say it, to enjoy the, passion of life, I guess we'll put it that way. She rejects him, of course, and then he becomes very aggressive, very forceful. He's aiming the crossbow at her, threatening her. And she basically just calls his bluff and says to, if you're going to do it type of thing. And then he misfires a shot that scratches her face. She completely goes into, aggressor mode at this point and fights him to the ground. And I believe stabs him to death. I want to say,
but
right? It was a knife she pulled. Oh yeah, she got it in the picture there. A knife she pulls and just kind of really goes to town.
Yeah, but it's where she first plants it. Let's say that. Literally,
right.
I think it's very much symbolism.
Graphic.
Yeah, I think it's very symbolism of he's propositioner, like let's get it on, and then she gets the upper hand, and then she kind of turns. Like I think it's more accidentally where the position is, but she just goes. Full. Yeah, let's say he's no longer a man. Let's put it politely like that.
He is not.
So she it's quite brutal. She gives a more than a few down that, and then I think then
I got
she
the
turns
actual
on him.
number.
Go on then. Because she turns back on him as well, and then. I think she does the stabs on the chest. She goes literally kind of loses it like that. So, but I feel like but it's a bit like she does get the upper hand in a way because when he's running off, she manages to get a back stab, doesn't she? Before she kind of that. So he's already kind of injured, and yeah, she's I like her because he ain't gonna outrun her because she's blatantly a runner. So it's like that. So, but yeah, she brutally in the chest and stomach and everything like that. Yeah. So what's the count in the book or on the manga?
Okay, so let's see for the book, because first of all, for those keeping track, so the one that dies is boy 16. It's Niida, and Niida gets stabbed by Shigusa, which means 22 are left. And let's see if the book reveals how many times Niida gets stabbed.
Oh, I didn't count how many times he got stabbed, but I counted all the other ways he got mutilated because in the book, this is he's very aggressive. He is trying to assault her. He is all over her. She is the best, one of the best, if not the best athlete in the school, which he's not given enough credit to because she is holding her own. She eventually, when he slips and goes down, jumps on his back, knees him to the head, inserts her fingernails into both eye sockets, and removes his eyes. Graphically in the book. So there's that. Then she goes to stab Pummel, and yes, her first, I think she kicks him in the groin first, and then begins to stab. So Hannah, how many stabs did you count?
Oh, I didn't need to count. The manga tells you he gets stabbed a grand total of 48 times.
Oh man,
of those 48, because apparently she's really good at this. She stabs him 24 times across the body, just at random, and the first 24 are all inside his dick.
I must say, I can understand why, if you go through the mind of Kill Bill and Quentin Tarantino, if it was him, he would have done that scene. Literally, you can guarantee he must have read the book or read like that, and he's quoted as this is one of his top 5 movies of all time. But you can understand why he would have liked to remake this, let's say that, in his style.
It's funny that you say that that you point out that this is one of his favorites, because I didn't know that, and there was a point I was going to make about this movie towards the end of this when I gave my recap on it that relates to Tarantino. I'll save it for then, but really interesting that you would point that out.
Yeah, it's he's I think so. I do like the quick aftermath of this. It literally goes back to my favorite character. She picks up. She just comes out of nowhere. She's been watching. She's been in the bushes, let's say, and she just picks up with the pistol that she's retrieved from her last kill. and literally is smiling, just pointing and smiling. And I like the thing. And she shoots multiple times in the movie vehicles, and then like runs after, shoots a couple of times, and it looks like she's missed. And then so now we're on the kill count. Boy 16 died. How many more you got left
So
before we move on?
So Boy 16 died, which is
Yeah.
again Niida. He gets stabbed to death by Chigusa, which is 22, and
Yeah.
then obviously, sadly, Chigusa bites the dust at the hands of Mitsuko when she shoots her, meaning it's down to 21.
Yeah. So I like this scene because there's like she's like, you don't know, she runs off. It turns to day to night quiet thing. So she must have been running for a bit, and it shows that she dropped to the floor. She's been shot in the stomach at least. And then a random one that we haven't seen kind of goes up, and they have a nice little interaction.
It's not random. This is
but in this it is, isn't it?
I know, in the film.
In the
This is
film.
the part where,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, there's so much backstory missing. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it kind of goes that she really loves him. Like that's the one she's always fallen for. But he appreciates her, he likes her, but he likes somebody else. I like
They grew
that, and
up
it's like
together.
that, yeah. And it's just kind of like, I find it a very nice ending scene to somebody. You're like, oh, she was kind of nice, she was kind of kick ass, and then she can't, but she's out of it, she's in it, out of it. So yeah, so is it the backstory? I'm guessing is a very drawn out, I'm guessing, from the book.
Hiroki is another one of the athletes, and another one in the group that, Shuya and Shinzi would have considered their friend, right? So, and in fact, they're looking for him. They want him to join them, because they know they can trust him. But Hiroki and you find out that Hiroki and Chigusa grew up together. She's always adored him. They've always respected each other. They're both very athletic and have a lot of common interests. And so that's why at the end, when she asks him the question, do you have a crush on anyone? Is it me? And he says no. And she smiles. She's like, kind of like, I know. But the reason why Hiroki doesn't join the group of three is because he's out there looking for the person that he loves. And I just, he's a loner. He's purpose driven. He's a good guy. I wish there was a little more of his story here, but again, I know, time limit. But in the book you get more of his story, you get more of Shinji's story, and why they're all friends.
Now I've just brought up the bit now because this is the first time in the movie it does it, and I want to know, was it in the book? Now I envisioned in my head that they have one page that has this on there, because now it starts to show black screen, the Japanese writing, and then the phrase, of course, the subtitles for us English is like that, and it's the first time, and I'm gonna God can say one more thing. God, can I say one more thing? And it's literally a black screen with the writing, and they constantly do this now throughout a couple of times throughout the death moments in the movie. Is this in the book? Is it prominent, or was it just for the movie?
In the book, you get, for many characters, you get their perspective, and you also hear that they have voices in their heads.
Yeah.
And the voices in their heads are distinct from them and their narration. So, for example, I think the one that's most prominent, I'm trying to think, is it, oh brother, I can never remember the names. It's kind of near the end, but some of the characters, oh, it is Shinji, actually. Shinji has a really prominent, like, other voice, and they even say that the voice sounds totally different from him. It's this voice driving him on. In the book, I don't remember any of what might be praying, which I took that in the film as kind of as praying, the letters on the, on the black, and, the reference to God. But you get a lot of internal voices for some of the characters. Hana, what do you recall, and what was in the manga?
So the line that is written means like it you can translate it to God, because but they're not speaking to one particular God because it's Shinto religion. We have more than one, and the phrase means "Kami, can I say one last thing?" So they basically speak one final prayer before they die.
Ah, okay.
And that's not in the book. That's not in the book. It's more like there are internal voices talking to the characters in the book.
Yeah. So the next one we're going back. It's the next countdown, and this is the first time you see what we're going later. Is you see a little snippet of a kid's drawing. Let's put it that way. Looks like a kid's drawing, and then you kind of get the teacher telling. I think there's only 3 died. I'm sure maybe 3 or 5 who's done it over the last announcement, and he calls them slackers. I love that. You're slacking or something. Like I'm very disappointed in you. Like, come on, up your game. I like that. It's like that, and So I like how he's like, come on, you've only got like he wants one to win instead of all of them to die. Because I think we forgot about that. If they don't. If there's not one winner, there can only be one. Highlander style, they all get their necks blown.
Yep.
And that's the first thing. So yeah, we missed that. But yeah, I like it. And then it goes back to the interaction to as you said, she's now cured of sepsis. Like literally
Very
Yeah.
quickly.
Very
and then
quickly.
so now they're eating some rice. The other ones, he's having he's having his cigarette, having a little chat. So we've got that one, and then he starts to talk about that. I think this is where that I'm guessing it's completely different to the book because they make out that he was already in before.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
definitely a part of the book.
Yeah. Oh, what is it in the book? So he was previously in.
Yep.
Ah, okay. Go ahead.
He's the prior winner. He tells them about that. He shares his story of Keiko. The story of Keiko is different in the film from the book. And Hannah, I don't know, is this where we get the flashback of how he won?
Yes.
Okay, totally different. So you can see in the film what it looked like to me, and I rewound it a couple of times. What it looked like to me is that Keiko wanted him to shoot her. She shot at him so that he would shoot her so that he could win. That's what I thought I saw over and over again. In the book, it doesn't describe that at all. It actually says that she was already dead when he found her. So it wasn't the two of them squaring off, because in the film they're hugging and kissing, and then she shoots and you think she shot herself, but she shot him, but he turns and shoots her, but then she smiles because that's what she wanted. That's how I took it. In the book, he's disappointed because she's already dead, like minutes into the game, and he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, so and then here comes the manga continuity again, because they are the final two. And
Oh, okay.
and they do it another different way. Because she only has 2 bullets left. He has 1 shot left. And so she shoots at him to try to bait him into shooting her because she wants him to win. And then he purposefully shoots past her to be like, ha, I'm out of bullets. Now you have to shoot me so you win.
Oh.
And then she tells him to go fuck himself and shoots herself.
Oh, okay.
And so he still wins.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the book and the film and the you're right, Hannah. The manga is kind of the combination of the two.
Yeah, because either way, he ends up sad because she because she dies.
Yeah.
Because he wanted her to live to win. But he purposefully missed his shot because he knows she only has 2 rounds left. And so he's like, okay, I whiff my shot, so now you have to shoot me. checkmate, and she's like, no, fuck you, and then just shoots herself.
Mm.
And he's like, fuck. He didn't anticipate that move.
And it does feel like the movie captures a lot of that side of the telling. But then again, I guess the manga came out after the movie, correct, Hana?
Yes.
So it seems like the change that the manga made tried to at least still capture that part from the movie.
Yeah, but they still made it so that both of them are the final two.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it sticks more to the movie side than the book's telling side of it.
Yeah, but then they also make it so that, like, because in the movie, compared to in the books, like in the books, he is really down that she died before him.
Yes.
And they also capture that one in the manga. Like, he is really down that, okay, he won, he gets to live, but basically at what price? And so he's really down and fucked up because she's dead. And she took her own life so that he can win. And so once again, they bridged basically both things.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder why. So is the book the first?
The book is first.
Medium of all these. Okay, so
Yeah, the book is first.
I wonder why 3 different choices for that.
Because when the movie was announced, and then obviously they had the dumb time constraint, the author of the book supervised the production of the movie and gave some cliff notes. And to some of the more, let's say, drastic changes, they even consulted the author. Right? And so when the manga project was announced, they once again, the studio that produced it, consulted with the author, and they basically went to, okay, so this is how you wrote it, this is how you allowed it to be filmed, which do you prefer more for us to draw for the manga? And for like quite few of them, he's like, I can't really decide. I like both, and so
they just said yes.
Yeah. And then the studio that created the manga was like, say no more. We can do that. And every time they drafted one of these mendings, they send it to him first for approval, and then colored it and signed it in.
Interesting.
So back to the movie. So we get our psychopath turn up, kind of, in a way, whilst they're eating their rice. He's hunting down boy number 4, and he's jumped off, and he's got a katana now. Somehow. Yeah,
He's
and
picking up all the weapons.
He's taken out a lot of people, and he's got some things, but so he takes out, and then he hears a noise from behind, so from where they're staying, so they kind of accidentally give away their position.
Before we gloss over that, so for those keeping count, we are saying goodbye to boy number 4, which is Oda, and let's say Oda gets turned into the Headless Horseman by our main man Kuriyama.
Yeah, I guess
down to 20.
That is a very important bit in the movie, that he gets decapitated. Let's say that, because I do like this thing. So they're held up. There's a bit of back and forth, like of how they can't get out, and then he can't really get in. He's trying to get through. So we see in one of the earlier scenes, he picks up some grenades. So what does he do? What would anybody's idea do? Throw the grenade in? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the guy's head, who's got a helmet on, put it in his mouth, and throw the head through the window. Because that's what you would do. Literally, I love this bit. Because you're like, when you first see it, you're like, did he have a grenade in his mouth? Does that head? And bang. So that's it. And then, of course, our hero kind of realizes he needs to. He makes let's say at this point, this is where he grows his balls. Let's say that in the first part of the movie is the best part, because he then jumps out the window like that to make kind of cover to kind of things like that, even though he knows the guy's got an automatic rifle. think it's more like an Uzi.
He's trying to
Really,
draw
I
him
think.
away.
Yeah,
The
drawing
other
him
two to
away,
be safe.
and
Mhm.
and lucky enough, he get. Okay, this is the only bit I didn't. The bit I couldn't find plausible because he misses so many times, and the depth between them two is not that far, and he
He's not
misses quite
missing.
easily. Yeah, he's literally.
He's not missing. Think about it.
What for
He's-
later? Is it literally? I thought
wearing
that
a
was from the
bullet-
fall.
He's wearing
no,
a
no.
bulletproof vest. He's
Yeah,
hitting him. He's wearing a bulletproof vest.
No.
Well-
The other way around. When he's got the Uzi, not when he's shot
Oh,
him.
you mean they're shooting
The other
at
way
him.
around.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
shooting
sorry.
at him because he's
I'm
like
sorry.
he's scattering it, and
Yeah.
literally he's
but here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. He's got an Uzi, correct? And what he has is the SA Mac 10. And if you look at it, if you look at the way he uses it, he holds the bastard one-handed.
Mm.
Have you tried shooting a Mac 10 one-handed?
Not today.
Spoiler
Yeah.
warning, you're not hitting shit.
Right, which that's
Yeah,
fair,
but-
but I will
Yeah.
say this was actually a critique I had of the movie was that
Mm.
the gun, fight choreography just wasn't great. It was a lot of like stormtrooper style,
That's
never
true.
hitting your target type of stuff. And
Yeah,
I get it. That could be excused by saying, well, he's holding it one-handed, but I would also say, the holding it one-handed was for the theatrical look effect versus the logic of, if you found out after the first couple shots that you're doing it one-handed ends up that way, you'd probably hold it with two to try to actually, accomplish what you're going to do. So
yeah,
the gun
and
stuff
being that
in the movie
close,
was
you would
probably
you would
the one
hit.
critique.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
one
exactly.
of the the few critiques. It just came off as a little too forced in terms of being purposely missing.
Now
Mm.
this
It's
is the
it's
part.
purposefully missing. It's one.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So it's purposefully missing, yes. But at that point in time in the movie, we have Kuriyama killing 7 people already, and at this point, it's quite established that he tends to be a bit arrogant, and his arrogance comes back to bite him in the ass later. So while from a choreography standpoint, yes, he should have shot normally. He's an arrogant bastard that just killed 6 people and doesn't care.
Mm.
And this comes back to bite him in the ass. So he gets his for being a terrible shot later.
No, he definitely does. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a.
That's what you get for not aiming, motherfucker.
It's at this point though where chunks of the book are being discarded willy-nilly. This is the
Yep.
point in the film where this battle that we've just watched was actually 2 different separate scenes that they clunked together in the film. Okay, so the Oda and that was a separate thing, and then Kiriyama is attacking the 3, and then Shuya is running away. They're all separate situations that now have been just clumped together for the sake of time. And there's another scene in a little bit that's going to do that really frustrated me. But whole chunks now are just being thrown out of the book because we got to get through this story, right? So we got to get through this story. And I think in the book, Shuya kind of tumbles down a ravine, and this is how he gets away. And then he's going to be picked up by someone and hauled into the next place that he goes to. But yeah, we're going super fast in the film. And this is where, for me, it just tended to annoy me just a bit. Still, the scenes are still well done, but they're just mishmashing a lot of stuff together now.
But would it annoyed you if you hadn't read the book?
No, that's the problem. I have read the problem is
Yeah, there you go. I wonder if you'd done it
I
the other way
can't
around.
unread the book.
Yeah, that's it. So
I can't unread the book.
Yeah, but that's because you wanted
Yeah.
more because you read the
I
book.
wanted
not
more
that-
because
yeah.
I liked the book, the 19 hours of audiobook that I listened to. Yeah, absolutely.
And because this is the part in the movie where they realized we're already over an hour deep and we cannot go 2, so let's hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Goddamn
so you-
time constraints.
Yeah. So now, I was saying no. Now he falls down. He takes 2 pot shots. But even when he's actually changing his magazine, he gets the first one and laughs and just throws the magazine at him. He takes another shot in the chest. It's obvious, as you said, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Where did that come from? Because he's, was that part of his gear, or did he have it previously?
He
You
pulled
don't
it
It's
off
in- it's
another
in the
was,
character.
Yeah, another
the
bloke.
kid with the helmet that he used for the grenade toss. I think he had it.
Yep.
Okay. So then you get that. He's fallen down. He's injured. Then you go back to a scene. Now I think we actually skipped over this. It's the nerds are back. The is it two who are still there? They've gone. We forgot. There's one guy who has a tracker who was there. He's gone off to find the 15 boy 15. But we forgot the main hacker. He figured out that they're listening through the devices.
Shinji, yes.
So we actually forgot to mention it. And this is when they come back, they start talking, and he's like, shh. And this is where, we had the maggot, like, how do you know about this? And then he throws the magazine down. We find that. And now I is the reference, because he's got like a thing, it's like he's got a detonator.
Yes. His
Yes.
uncle or father or grandfather
Yeah.
gave him his like a gear kit from when he fought in a war. And part of it was what he wore around his neck, which was a detonator. And Shinji took it and said, or whoever said, hey, I'm going to wear this around my neck. I might need it someday. It was not part of the gear. It was just something he always carried with him.
Yeah,
Coincidentally.
because he says that it was there to blow up Parliament or something, doesn't it? It like, has a reference. So I'm guessing his uncle was. I think he did say he was a part of the rebellion or whatever this dystopia society was before the battle royale and everybody took over. It's like the good guys lost them.
Yeah, that's the reference to the 1970s when they had the real bomb making magazine from the anti-Japanese government group.
Yeah. So then you get our main guy. He's now in a lighthouse. He wakes up. He's fully bandaged. He's been bruised. Let's say that he's again, this is a scene that he recovers too quickly. I'm guessing the 3-day constraints and the time things. Is it 3 days in the book? That'd be
It's
interesting.
3 days in the book, but he's out for 2 announcements, right?
Okay.
He's missed like more than or almost 12 hours.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I think because this is the lighthouse full of girly girls, I think they went overboard bandaging him, because the one girl makes a mention, and this is the girl who has the crush on Shuriya. She makes mention that she got to take his clothes off.
Okay.
And I think the girls went a little overboard with the bandages.
They turned him into the fucking mummy.
Yeah,
a little bit. So they have that, and then they I can't remember what girl it is. They have a thing like I'm guessing it's the main ways. There's two. They show it from only like a distance, really. Like I'm guessing it's graphic in the book and in manga that there is 2 naked guys, and then a girl. You just see her kind of getting dressed again, and then
it's
walking off.
Mitsuri, because she again, she was using her skills.
Yeah.
She again convinced 2 guys to take all their clothes off because, hey, we're all gonna die. Let's do this thing. And when she had them at their most vulnerable, she hacked them to pieces.
Yeah.
Yep. And at that point, we say goodbye to boy 13, which is Takiguchi, and boy 18, which is Hatagami.
And we're down to.
And by the way, we forgot that two of the girls got into a fucking fight and basically stabbed each other to death.
Yes.
We kind of glossed over those 2. So rest in peace, girl 1 and girl 20, which is Mizuho and Kaori. And we are down to 16.
In the book, when Shuriya was trying to work his way away from Shogo and Noriko, he encountered those 2. These are the ones that were on either side of a barn. They were actually shooting each other, and they really liked each other. And what you kind of get from the book is that, like, one fired accidentally, so then the other one fired, and then they got in this gun battle, and then they ended up killing each other. And then it's like neither one meant to kill each other, and neither one of them wanted to play the game, but they're both dead on either side of a barn. And he comes across them when he's I guess working his way away from crazy man, Kuriyama.
They're literally laying next to each other, and they because they got out of ammunition, so they emptied their guns, and then they got into a knife fight, both with the same knife.
Yeah.
So there was only one knife, and both of them got significant stab wounds that both of them bled out.
But yeah, I think now like you get like a, because they're trying to wrap it up in the movie, is like you get a little bit of misfortune now to get the kill counts. I suppose like that, because like the next one, I guess in like the one who witnessed the axe, it's different in the movie. She has, I think her weapon's a poison.
Yes.
I'm guessing that's what's her weapon.
Cyanide.
So they've got like they're cooking, they're all things like that, and then she doesn't believe it. Still doesn't believe it's an accident. Now it sounds like she has right to not believe it was an accident from the book, but in the movie, you're kind of torn. Was it an accident? Wasn't an accident? And then she kind of severely messes up, kind of poisons the food. And another girl comes in, takes the food, quickly starts eating it, and then of course instantly starts coughing up blood and instantly dies. And then they
so on that's girl 16. That is rest in peace, Yuka, and you got cyanide poisoning. Goodbye.
And then it just all goes a bit. They can't talk each other down. They all make the wrong mistakes.
They don't trust each other.
Yeah. So they all one grabs a rifle to kind of get whatever it is, a gun or whatever, to kind of play the high ground. Then they don't trust that, and they don't trust that. There's other ones who've got pistols, and it just literally turns into a. What would be a good Western phrase, I suppose, like cowboy thing? It just turns into a turkey shoot, doesn't it? Really, within a confined space. Literally, they all have it, except for of course, the girl who did do the poisoning is hid under a chair, and they kind of let her off. But yeah, this is like how many go? Like 5 or 6 in this.
So this is 4 of them. And we say goodbye to girl 19, 12, 17, and 2, which are Chisato, Haruka, Satomi, and Utsumi. And then then Yuko jumps off the lighthouse.
Yeah. She then,
and that's girl 9.
Not in the book.
Not in the book. God, what is it in the book then?
Well, in the book, she's trying to escape. She's trying to figure a way out, and the stairs are blocked, and so she's trying to work her way around the railing to get down to the next deck on the lighthouse. So she goes around and through a fence, and she's hanging on, and she's probably looking down and sort of contemplating, and it's Shurya who grabs her hand. Even though she just tried to kill him, he's pulling her up, but her hand is sweaty, his hand is sweaty, and she loses grip. And so there's that moment where he's there and trying to pull her up. But so it's not as clear of a clear self-deletion as it is in the film. But again, much quicker to portray the same ending to do what they did in the film.
Goddamn time constraints.
Yeah. So next you get a very weird scene, don't we? We get like with the lollipops on the lake. It's the next one, isn't it, really? So literally, teacher and girl 15. It's like it's like a flashback, but it's not a flashback. You think it's a flashback, and then you find out it's kind of a dream. You think it's from the teacher's point of view, but it ends up being from girl 15 point of view. But it's like they must have had I'm guessing she's teacher's pet. I'm guessing she was the only one who actually did respect him and actually wanted to learn and like that. So they have a little bit of things that shows that he was a bit lonely and like that. And then the reason you think it's his dream, he gets woken up by one of the military guys saying you've got a call. He think it's the minister, and then it ends up, I think it's his daughter, isn't it? So his daughter kind of says, are you coming home? Mum's not feeling that well. And he's like, I'm on a business trip. You kind of know that I can't come back until tomorrow. And then she's like, well, don't bother coming back. And then also, I'm hanging up. So she says something like, can you stop breathing down the phone because your breath stinks or something like that. It's something like really like, well, that was out of the blue and a bit hurtful. And he's like, he seems a bit hurt, but he's like, he doesn't want to say anything. And it's like that. And then, of course, it turns, then it goes back to girl 15 who is with the transfer guy, is there, he's cooking again, and then she explains it's her dream, it wasn't the dream that you thought it was. That, so that was a bit of thing. So
and we have a funny tidbit about that phone call. So the phone call that Kitano is on is with his daughter, and his daughter is actually played by the real life sister of Noriko, and the daughter is played by Maeda Ai, and Noriko is played by Maeda Aki. So he's literally talking to the sister in context.
Now this is the part from here forward. This is why I had to rewatch. There's a couple elements of the ending of the film that just threw me off so much that I had to re-listen to the book a couple of last chapters and then rewatch. This story thread is nowhere to be found in the book. This thread with the teacher. In fact, the teacher, my mental impression of him from the book is the most different of any character that appeared in the film. So in the book, I had him as a short, spindly guy, kind of cocky, attitudinal government flunky. And, here he's just looks like, a dad. He looks like an everyday dad dude. And that's not how I believe also in the book, they're all described as wearing suits, like not a track suit like he's wearing here. So the dream, the scene with the umbrella, and the ending threw me off so much because that storyline is not anywhere in the book, and it kind of, I don't know why it's in the film. So Jay, you're kind of, so having not read the book, it sounds like you're saying it, like, do you think it doesn't fit? How did you feel about that scene?
Yeah, those same three parts kind of really threw me off. I know we'll obviously get to the ending and the umbrella scenes, but even those, I just even like now sitting here, I'm still not quite sure what was going on with those. It didn't really end up clicking over time from when I watched it yesterday. But even this dream sequence, I thought watching it felt out of place, and I couldn't really make sense of it. And I figured, at some point it'll, tie in later and it'll make more sense. But then, after watching the whole thing, I found out, at least for me in my viewing of it, I didn't think that it ever really did.
Yeah. So for the film, you get a really quick, like our hero's got his little walking stick or staff, and he's walking back. You get a little bit of a flashback between a scene of him and his dad in a restaurant, and his dad is seriously depressed. You can tell that he's either drunk, like out of it on something, or he's seriously depressed. And then that's just another insight. And then they go back to girl 15 is in the rain, and then she comes across what's her face, who gets the pistol, and then the teacher comes out of nowhere with the umbrella. This scene, isn't it? Boy 15 goes down. He's really injured. The teacher passes over the umbrella to kind of go like, yeah, don't worry about me. Then he just wanders off and leaves them kind of to it for now. It's like, it's like, look, you're the two that can look after each other or something like that. It's kind of a very vague in its way. And then they just have their kind of reunion and all that, don't they? And then you get I don't know how they meet up, but what was it like? So she, like, when she's got the pistol on, she runs off and does the transfer guy follow which I can't remember, and then they end, like, she ends up in like a what's the best way to call it, like a an industrial like kind of place, and then she comes like this that has the best fight scene in probably the movie.
Are we
So-
we talking about Mitsuko here at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah. So she
Runs
comes
off.
yeah,
But we don't end up seeing her come back. Yeah, till they're in the warehouse, and it's that other
Yeah.
boy and that girl having their
Mm.
kind of little story and scene. I don't
Yeah,
think we
so
see
she-
much other than her disappearing and then showing back up there.
yeah. So she turns out she kills the two there, and then because of the gunshots, she draws the the psychopath to a location. I
So,
suppose.
and she doesn't kill the two of them. So we say goodbye to boy number 11 here, which
Mhm.
is Sugimura. And Sugimura gets shot by Kotohiki. And then
Is
Kotohiki
it?
gets shot
Right.
by Mitsuko. And by
yeah.
the way,
And-
Kotohiki is girl number 8. And so now we are down to 8.
And I actually really like this scene because I felt like throughout this whole movie, it had these kind of all these little stories felt a little bit like kind of short stories that were connected through the thread of the travels of Nanahara and to a degree Mitsuko as well. So within these stories, there was kind of a lot of little like pockets of emotion that the movie was going for that weren't necessarily related to one another in terms of the way the story goes through, but they existed within their own little parts. Like for example, the lighthouse leaves you with like, you know, the girl feeling so guilty because obviously she loved all those girls that she was surviving with and all that. And then her sad demise. And then you move on to this one where, you know, that kid comes in to finally reveal to the girl he's had a crush on that he's always had a crush on her. And she accidentally
Hiroki.
killed him because she
Yeah.
thought he was a threat. And, you know, it's kind of in a way a horrible thing to tell her at that point and that kind of timing because then she's, you know, feeling all this regret of, you know, I never even knew because you never talked to me. Like, you know, you could just kind of feel the emotion there. And it's a really nice little, like, impactful story with two characters that have had virtually little to no role in the movie to this point. I believe the guy did at some point, but even that was really small. She really had no part in the movie at this point. And, you know, they create this nice, really impactful little emotional scene with them. And that was one thing that stood out to me that I thought was almost Tarantino-like to find out that he was a big fan of this movie. I'm like, oh, that makes sense because it felt a lot like short stories all connected into one through the happening or the travelings of these kind of main characters. And that was one I just wanted to highlight because I thought that story between the unspoken love that the kid had for the girl and the way it ends was a nice little emotional thing to tell, and didn't want to just gloss over it.
Yeah, he had such a big part in the book, like, that he just kept looking for her and wouldn't stop. And every time, either he encountered people who were looking for him or wanted him to join them because he was an athletic guy and a good guy and a guy you could trust. He's like, nope, I'm heading out. I got to find her. And, no anger on his part when she shoots him. He's just like, I did my thing. I found you. And he's okay. He's forgiven her already. And it was really a well done part of the book and still okay here. Again, something had to be cut for sure.
Right.
Goddamn time restraints.
and then from there we get Mitsuko kind of walking in on it. And obviously, the initial gunfire plus hers has drawn
our main man.
Main man is drawn into the scene.
Here comes Kuriyama.
No, I do like this because it shows one, she doesn't give up even when that's it. So she fakes being shot, I think, or has been shot, but not like that, and then she leaps kind of. And I do like this scene. I think it's very good, even to have a little back and forth. And he's still got the upper hand. She's going in like a little, I don't know, like a meerkat on acid. Let's just say that. Like literally, it's all guns going. And even like when she gets shot, she keeps coming. Gets shot, keeps coming, and it's like you have to open up like a little things. I think her death is really good. Like it's a very good ending to her little arc.
It's well done and a good payoff.
Yeah. So I'm guessing in the manga, definitely going to be more graphic, and in the book, detailed.
Yes.
So who wants to go first? Tell us.
I'm struggling for the her death in the book. Why am I blanking on it? I know it's very similar. She just keeps coming and coming and coming. You think she's dead over and over again. But it's definitely the battle of the two, people who are just crazed with, passion to kill. I don't know why I'm blanking, Hannah, on anything different from what's in the film.
I cannot tell you why you are blanking on it. I do not know that.
What's it in the manga then? What is it? Is it really just over the top? Is it?
Yes, because they know what the age rating they have, and they sit there and be like, yeah, we can totally abuse this.
Yeah. So it's just more of a graphic back and forth, a little bit more bloody, a bit more guts, but yeah.
Not as graphic as the eyeball scene, I tell you.
No, it sounds like that is things. But I just think it was good. It shows like the two alphas are at it really in the whole thing. And then you go back now. This is where it speeds up a little bit, but I'm bloody time constraints. I understand that. So we go back to the geeks. They've got all their gear. They're making Molotovs and they're making they're now strapping, I'm guessing it's some explosive devices to a truck to ram the school. At this point, he realized he's hacked them? I can't remember if he's realized it now.
Oh yeah.
So he's realized he's like, I'm hacking it. But unfortunately, our psychopath wants to ruin the party, let's just say. So he joins the area. He easy annihilates, and this is the thing. Like, it's a very quick scene of the deaths of the geeks. Like they're kind of in a very strong hold, and they kind of really. He takes out one really, really quickly after they kind of misfire, and then he then goes in, kills the other one that I'm guessing Sandy that you have a problem with because he's one of the main characters in the book. The other main geek, and then was it? So then they have the showdown. I suppose is the best thing to do is between our three. It's kind of our two girl boy. Well, it's not really. It's the boy 15 and girl 15 stand away, and now it's the two. Well, they call it the transfer. So the two transfers are at it, and he turns, and I don't know if they like making out he's blind. He's blinded because his eyes look like.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So let's go quickly over the three geeks to pay proper respect.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have girl number 11, which is Mitsuko, who gets shot by Kuriyama. Then we have boy 12 and boy 2, which is Yutaka and Ijijima, who also get shot by Kuriyama, which means we are down to 5.
And one quick thing that we actually skipped over about Mitsuko that I wanted to point out was in that last scene we just discussed, where she does have the standoff with the main man. We do actually also get a little bit of background on her character, which in the very final scene for her gives her a little bit more of a understanding kind of trait. I don't want to say it makes her more likable because it doesn't. She's still a bad person in the movie and, up to this final death. Not a bad person. Obviously, she's just kind of out to survive, but they play her in a way that makes her feel like, one of the antagonists of the movie. But getting the background scene of, how I think Sandy described it a little bit earlier, where obviously she's, being sold by her mother to these creepy older men and all that. So you kind of get a little glimpse of that. It's actually a flashback to her as a child in the occasion where it's happening, possibly the first time. And then it kind of clicks in your mind like, oh, so this is kind of a little bit more where her character comes from and what she's gone through. So right before she does leave the movie, in terms of being deleted, you do get at least a slightly better look at, why she is the kind of off-putting character she is in the movie.
You have such an eloquent way of saying that. You do.
Thank you.
You do. This is where I'm going to say 3 or 4 different scenes have now all been wrapped up into one, because these people were not in the same place. It didn't happen this way. The geeks, yes, they were in their place. Yes, the building was on fire. They were hoping that the crazed man was, burned up in the fire. He wasn't. He's like the Terminator. He keeps coming back. But the final battle with our trio plus Kuriyama, there's a lot to that. There's a car chase. There's they jump into a truck. Kuriyama jumps into a van. They're shooting each other in cars. The van is tumbling down a ravine. Every time they think this guy is dead, he's not. He gets back out of the van, goes after them. It just he never stops. He never stops. And it's just there's so many scenes that they just wrapped up here in this fire with everyone in this same place, and then with Kiriyama hearing either a gun being cocked or something, turns and starts firing because he's blind. That's not in the book. In the book, he is now chasing them on foot after the car chase. There's a ravine that Shuya and Noriko jump down into, and they start running. There's razor wire lining the trench. She gets her face and arm cut severely by running into the wire. And there's a whole, other long dramatic chase scene that eventually, obviously, leads to Shogo and Kiriyama, the standoff there. But there's a lot that happened in the middle that was not in this film for for obvious reasons.
So in this one, so the hacking's done. We don't know what he's really hacked really. He's just saying that he's got in. And then of course the standoff and like that. And then you kind of now we have is it this bit where he kind of tells them, the other two, I used you. I don't care about you. I was always going to shoot you. Like, with the transfer, this guy, let's go. So this one, like kind of the moment at the beach, she's like pointing it at our boy 15 and girl 15. And then it cuts into back to the school with the military guys and the teacher, and it's operations complete. We're going on to that, and then we're the military go. We have a winner. And he's like, no, and he sits down, has a cookie, and he's like, I'm just going to stick around. And then he goes outside. There's a motivational speaker, kind of one of those like arms up, like they're just like the morning exercise. So he sits there doing his morning exercise, and then our transfer comes in, hobbling on, and he looks at him like in disgust, like it's you who won. And then of course he goes back into, both of them go back into the school, and then he kind of sits down, and he goes, well, he gives it like a bit of back and forth, but then he kind of just picks up the remote he did to kill the first the boy for blowing up next, does it, and then he realizes your hack was that you the devices aren't active. They managed to kind of take them out, and hey, Tomby's raiding. Hey, Tomby, and everybody's coming over from Tomby's channel. Welcome to, we're coming up to the end of the movie. So
there's still a lot to talk about, though.
We got a lot. But at the end, but there's a hell of a lot. So they come down to that, and then you get boy 15 and girl 15 come in the room, and then you get a weird reveal. We had a snippet of it a couple of times throughout the movie of, let's just say, he reveals this, the mural, and it goes in like, this is a bit more of a little bit different to what he shows. He reveals it like as a classroom of everybody's deaf. He's literally been, it's a very kiddie drawing, sorry, by the teacher, but it shows everybody's deaf except for girl
Noriko.
15, who's in the middle, who's kind of like an angel. She's even got the halo kind of going on. Like he believes that she's entitled to be the winner. It's like that. So yeah, what did people feel about this scene? Because it is a bit of it's a strange one.
Okay, so before we get to that, so first of all, we pay respects to boy 19, Mimura, who gets blown the fuck up.
Shinji.
Yeah, meaning we are down to 4. So, and do we want to speak about how Kuriyama bites it, or do we save that for later?
Nah, go on.
Yeah.
I think I skipped over it because
because we say goodbye to our main man, to Kuriyama, because Kawada, the actual transfer student, shoots the neck collar.
Oh yeah, that's
Kaboom.
right. That's right.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
skip,
and
Because he's
then
got a bulletproof vest on. They has to shoot him in the
Right,
face or the neck. And in the book, he also is wearing a metal helmet. He's the one wearing the helmet, not Oda. So
yep.
he's invincible. He's got a now. For those of you who really know how a bulletproof vest works, you can only get shot a few times with bulletproof vest before your insides turn into macaroni and cheese. So you can't take that many bullets with a bulletproof vest, but we'll give a little
No.
artistic license to this
Yeah.
film. But that's why they had to aim for the face or the neck, because he had a helmet on and the bulletproof vest.
I mean, to be fair, you could just shoot the middle spot of either thigh, but that details. Shot on the neck looks cooler.
Yeah.
So we
and
say,
he went pop.
and he went kabloosh. So we say bye to our main man, Kuriyama, who holds, by the way, the golden deagle for most kills with 12.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How many did Mitsuko have?
So we
She's
have,
gotta be in
if we want to round it up, because it's the end of the movie. So Kuriyama, our main man, has killed a grand total of 12 people. Mitsuko has killed 9. Bronze gets shared between Kawada and Satomi, were both 3. Then our boy Shuya with 2, and we will get to the second one. And then a bunch of people that only got 1 and then either died themselves or got murked, most likely by Kuriyama.
Yeah. Oof.
Because Kuriyama was like, hey, if I'm not winning, I'm getting the highest kill streak. Fuck y'all.
So, in terms of this painting, and to be honest, pretty much right about where is it? What number is it? Kawada? Am I saying his name right, Hamiyama? The transfer student, the good transfer student.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kawada. From the point where he kind of reveals his, fake double crossing of the girl and boy 15, to pretty much the entire ending, I felt like this was where the writing and the logic was just starting to not make sense to me much. This painting I didn't really get. I mean, I understand what it is. I just didn't understand its significance or why it looks why they decided to go with this kind of drawing, this whole thing. It felt really odd to me. The double cross at the end where Kawada's obviously supposed to come out the winner. I would imagine they would know exactly which boys and girls, who was still alive and who wasn't, because they've been able to, I guess, now that I'm thinking of it, they were hacked, so I could excuse the idea if they didn't know exactly who lived or who died. But, in the beginning of the movie, we see the winner of the previous Battle Royale being kind of carted out by the military. There's all this news and stuff surrounding it. And I felt like, obviously, if they knew that there was a winner of this one, wouldn't that one have been kind of escorted with that same military force or presence that leaves the island so that they could then, go through the same process of being reintroduced back to society? The idea that, everybody leaves without kind of knowing who the winner was seemed like a bit of a hole in the logic for me there. And then I know we haven't talked about it yet, but the whole thing with him getting shot and then getting back up to answer his cell phone just came off as really odd. At first, for a second, I thought it was another kind of twist where it was like a staged thing where him and Kawada might have been in on it to trick Girl and Boy 15. But then he just kind of answers the phone and passes on after that. It just, the whole kind of last segment here just felt really odd and all over the place for me.
So I didn't mind it, to be honest. Like he goes in, after this paint, like the mural, whatever you want to call it, paints in, whatever, is a bit odd. I get like he's the only, like he endeared her. This is the only girl that respected him out of the rest. He didn't care about him. That's fine. And then, of course, he picks up a pistol. We find out later it's a water pistol.
Oh yeah,
and
that
then,
too.
yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah.
That part,
And
the whole thing was just, I don't know, it didn't make sense.
and I think it's like he's given up. Like he's like, look what he's become. He's not doing, like, I'm guessing, a job that he liked teaching. He's now part of the political sphere. His family doesn't blatantly like him. Like
Mhm.
that is making obvious there. So when he like opens up with the kind of raises the pistol, and then boy number 15 opens up on him, shoots him, and then he drops, like shoots the water at him, and then kind of goes and just sits down, picks up the phone, and it's the last call to his daughter. Really, he's like,
Right.
this is like, I'm not coming home. This is what, you're not responsible. You've been treating me kind of like crap, so I'm not going back. And she goes to answer, but he throws it. He doesn't want to hear it. He throws it away and then shoots it with her things. And then then he picks up the cookie, and then he goes, last cookie, and that's it, done. And I find it, I don't mind. I didn't mind that ending for him. I find it was quite poetic, but I still don't get the reference to the painting. Now I'm guessing, is it in the book, and is there
Nope.
reference to it? Because it is very confusing.
No, this entire thread between how he feels about Nakagawa, Noriko, is not in the book at all. Nothing. And it gave me an even weirder vibe than probably you three men are getting. I got a very PDF
Oh yeah,
vibe.
no, it was
Okay.
definitely a creepy,
Yeah.
weird, like not appropriate in any culture kind of vibe for sure.
Yeah, between the ice cream and
It was
this.
weird. The painting was, I think, the creepiest part. Like, why does he like
Yeah.
this girl so much?
Yeah.
The,
So the funny thing is, I can say something to that in a bit.
Okay, we
Ooh,
won't
in a
say
bit.
it yet.
So we're literally now coming up to the end. So the next scene is they're sailing, they're not sailing away. They're on a fisherman's boat or whatever kind of thing. And our thing is, his dad was a fisherman as well. That's how he can. He knows
Fisherman,
that.
a chef, a doctor, a farmer.
And they come out, and then he goes, you take over, and he goes back into the back, lays down, has his cigarette, and he's whole thing. He's in the movie. They make out the whole point he's come back is because he wanted to find out what was the reason of the worst last words of his girlfriend when he thing was it. She said thank you, wasn't it? And he wanted to know why. And then his last things, he finds out why.
Yeah,
sorry, Jake.
I also just didn't really love that. I didn't like the logic of him being there again to figure out, why that reasoning was. Because, like, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me that the island and this whole process would hold the answer to that for him. I mean, they wrote it in a way that I guess, it makes it. It just didn't seem. Again, this is just kind of where the writing lost me a little bit in this one.
It's not the reason in the book. So the reason in the book, and also, the reason why Shogo teamed up with Shuya and Noriko, where he says, hey, you guys look like a nice couple. You look like I can trust you. He also somehow sensed that Shuya had this anger against the government, that's why Shogo was doing this. He was angry against the government, and he had acquired these survival skills, having gone through the program before and then having to do it again. He wanted to quote F up the government and find a way to do it, and he didn't know exactly what that was, but he wanted to make as much ruckus as he possibly could, and to break this game was possibly his way to do this. Now, in the book, when it's just the three of them, and Shogo, fakes the attempt to delete the other two, and then they run off. They have been given instructions as to where to meet in case they got split up, and Shogo went to do his thing as the winner, but then those two were to hide out on a ship, a different ship, not the boat that they're on, but the teacher was not in a room like the final room here. Sakamochi was on the ship. That was Sakamochi's ship. And then Shogo would be ceremoniously brought onto the ship and then brought home with a crew of, I think, 9 soldiers on this ship. He had already given the other two instructions as to how to get on the ship. Who knows how he knew how to get on the ship? And they tied a bamboo ladder to the anchor chain, and they were dragged for a bit and then climbed themselves up onto the ship from the anchor chain. They hid out on the ship, and those two, one by one, plucked off all of the sailors and soldiers on the ship until there was only one left, and that was the soldier that was in the room with Sakamochi. When Shogo comes in, Shogo then takes care of the soldier. He has no weapon left, right? He doesn't have his weapon. He's now cleaned up and ready to go home. But he's got the pencil that was in the backpack to write on the map. And he kills the soldier in that room with the pencil. And then the other two come in, having disposed of everyone else on the ship, and they take care of Sakamochi. And then that's the ship that they make their way home in. So that's how that ending was so different that, again, I had to rewatch and reread because it was so very different from what was a very short ending to this film, but it was a very much more long and drawn out ending in the book.
Yep.
Yeah, well, in the film, they kind of just go into like you don't really see them getting back to land, but they are wanted now, fugitives for murdering, aiding and abetting. And then they have a quick scene of them, her getting the butterfly knife again, giving it to him. And then they kind of go like walking down the streets, I'm guessing, of some city in Japan, I'm guessing. And then, shall we run? And then they start to run, and then it just run. And that's it. That's the end of the movie.
In the book, they're heading to another country. So
it makes sense.
Again, there's no butterfly knife. They're going to a city. They have the name of someone they can hide out with. That person happens to be a doctor. He stitches everybody up, gives them money that Shogo had left. So Shogo knew he was going to do this. He just didn't know who he was going to do this with. He left all of these things in place so that they could escape. And they did.
So we're at the end. Now, I know we're going to have some questions. We're going to have some questions. A lot of questions. Go on.
First, we need to rile up the numbers. So for those who counting, we have 3 people left, 3 players left. So Kitano gets shot by Shuya. But Kitano's not a player, so he doesn't count. But Kawada later succumbs to his injuries, leading only 2. So, remember when I said there were 43 players?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so we had, so right now, we had originally 43. We have 2 people left, and everybody else is dead, and we counted them all up. So if you count the original, which was, I believe, 40 or 41, then you would have 5 people left.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh.
So, so because when they originally designed the class, and it's even a funny thing, inside when you read the manga volumes, because they have a bit of trivia at the end of each volume, in the movie, they miscounted the class by 2.
Ah.
In the movie, it's said there are 41. It's 43. They miscounted by 2.
No kidding.
So, and because once again the manga comes in to save the day on why Kitano is so fucking weird. He's not weird because he's weird, but he's weird because obviously in the manga we can see what everybody looks like, and Noriko, and not like they are siblings, but just similar. Noriko looks like his daughter,
Oh, interesting.
but not like not like sibling look-alike, but he gets reminded of his kid. And so because she was the only one in class that wasn't a dick to him, and she was the only one that was actively nice to him as a teacher, or not nice, but respectful to him as a teacher, he decided that she is the one to win because he could not bring it upon himself to have her die when she looks like his kid.
And I could understand that felt like what they were trying to go for. It just felt like they went about it in a weird way when they took that turn with the painting. That was the one that kind of threw most of that feeling off.
That's what I'm saying. They again, this is a manga change to make him look like, obviously in the movie.
Oh, I see what you mean, right? Kind of a retroactive change.
Like in the movie, he looks a bit more weird, and in the book, it didn't happen at all. And so once again, they kind of bridge the two. Because they still go onto the boat. He dies on the boat because he gets shot on the boat. And Kawara succumbs to his injuries from the fight with the soldier on the boat. I can't remember. I would need to reread the final chapter because I don't remember if they have the painting or not in the manga. But he definitely wanted Noriko to win just because of how similar she looks and behaves compared to his own kid. So she didn't want her to die. So he didn't want her to die. So he made it so like even in specific circumstances, like for example when she gets shot and gets the sepsis, the fact that they have everything to treat a sepsis at the hospital was because Kitano placed it there. And so he went out of his way.
That makes more sense than some of the I feel like the film was just so weird about it. But that makes
and
sense.
I would say it one more time for the movie. Goddamn time constraints.
Well, so one thing I will say that doesn't feel like it was time constraint change as much as it was just a creative choice was hearing Sandy describe the kind of motive behind Kawada's character from the book is to me a lot better. It makes a lot more sense than what we got in the movie. Because to be honest with you, I couldn't really make sense as to why he chose girl and boy number 15 as, the two to take on this journey with them. It seemed kind of almost like a convenient thing, given that they were the main characters of the story. I also couldn't understand his overall, I get the idea that they were going for was that he was going to better understand the last words of the girl that he loved in the previous Battle Royale. But again, to me, it didn't make sense did he always know that was going to incorporate 2 other people as part of his plan and all that? Like the idea that this was something more as a payback or revenge for that, the love that he had, that he wanted to just disrupt the government, that he knew if it wasn't going to be him, he was going to help at least one other person get out and do it and have these kind of things set up for when that person does get out. That all seems like a better story and much more logical for me than what we got. And I don't think it would have, taken that much more time just to tell it that way. So to me, it feels a little bit more like it was a creative choice to kind of play on the emotion of love. And I just felt like it lost a little bit of sense to me.
Yeah. And once again, it's bridging both of them because, again, manga. Kawada sees himself and his love in the 2 of them when he meets them. And then makes the spontaneous decision of being like, I don't need to win alone to stick it to the government. I can take you with me and have you two not be put into the same choice I had to make.
Right. See, even that I really like, and I think I think that would have been an easy thing to kind of insinuate or even put into this one. And at no point watching it do I feel like he's got that kind of motive. And it would have been such an easy thing to add to what he's doing. And it fits in line with kind of what they wanted in the movie in terms of what his story was. But I didn't pick up on any kind of hint of that.
There are some subtleties, like specifically when they first meet. And if you rewatch the movie at any given point in time, and you rewatch the scene when they first meet, look at his facial expression when, like, before he even says anything. When he just looks at them, how they look at each other, look at his face, and look how his face looks. Because he does a very good job with just 2 facial expressions before he then tells them to follow him.
Interesting.
It's a tiny things.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, this is just for you. I send you an image on Discord. Look at it for yourself, because I don't think YouTube is going to like it.
It's not a manga one. That's going to be definitely
it's a manga panel. That's how Mitsuko dies against Kuriyama.
Okay. So Sandy, the numbers, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about the movie as a whole and the rip-offs, how you felt, and what you thought the movie can be or should have been. Let's say that. So the numbers, go.
So this is first. It's adjusted. I apologize to everyone else around the world. This is adjusted to U.S. dollars and adjusted for inflation. So it was a $4.5 million budget at the time, which is $8.4 million today. A meager budget for the year 2000, right? That's a meager film budget.
Yeah, that's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it made, the equivalent of $57.1 million today. That's considered a box office success. But more importantly, as I mentioned, this film was heavily restricted and contested and, protested against. And yet it was recognized as the work that it is, which is quite a, intelligent and artistic work. It was nominated for 10 awards at the Japanese Film Academy Awards, which was a total controversy for this film.
Yep.
This is not, by the way, it was also nominated for a whole slew of like horror film awards, the Saturn Awards, the sci-fi, all of that. But to be nominated for the Japanese Film Academy Awards was incredibly shocking to some. And for it to win 4, it won for editing, it won as most popular film of the year.
Yep.
And both of our leads, Tatsuya Fujiwara and Aki Maeda, won for best newcomer. So that's boy 15 and girl 15. And as Smoo mentioned in the chat, it was banned in a lot of countries.
I was going to say, is the 57 million inflation, is that including DVD sales?
No, it's worldwide box office only, right?
I wonder what the DVD sales, because I'm guessing it wasn't heavily played in America.
Sure. No, and I'm sure it's gained, it just probably gained popularity, over the I'd never seen this film. I'd heard of it. I'd heard people talking about it. Initially, I thought it was I'm sorry to say, I thought it was a wrestling film initially. And then, then years ago. And then I learned more about it and thought, not my thing. By the way, I'm one of those few people who I have not seen any of the Hunger Games films, and I have not read the books. My oldest daughter has read the books and likes them. I've never seen the film, so I don't have anything to compare. But I'm just guessing, from what I know about the films, unless there was something else historical that preceded this film, and I don't think there has been.
Nope.
It feels like both Hunger Games and Squid Games, certainly Squid Game, both
Squid Games pay a salute to this. They remark it. The writers and creators have said this is we take out from Battle Royale. The woman who did the writing for things has always said no, I never read it, I never did anything to it. We never read the books, never watched the movie before she wrote it. But then I'm going to go down to Jay, who's watched. Have you watched all the Hunger Games?
So I've only seen like the first one, and I want to say maybe the second one. I grew up, I was in high school at the time they were big.
That is all you need to see. That is really kind of it.
Yeah, no, it's entirely a conceptual ripoff. The whole thing, the island, the kids, the whole deal. Story wise, Hunger Games is a little bit more of the that era's Divergent or whatever those movies are. Those kind of teen drama, romantic stuff. that's definitely probably the difference between the two. I would say is the stories, and that's from what I can remember. I really can't remember the exact plot points of Hunger Games. I don't know if they stole from
But
some more of it.
yeah, well, the
but
only difference is
conceptually, it's a total ripoff.
Yeah, they do it for an age group. This is an age group, exactly the same. They get picked by random. Even to the point where in the Hunger Games, when somebody dies, it gets announced by a boom at the end of the day. This gets announced by somebody reading it out.
There's random selection of weapons out there.
Yeah, the backpacks, the random things, like how anybody can go, oh, that's nothing. And the funniest thing is, it's only a court case that was done by the producers of this movie that then got the an out of court settlement off the Hunger Games, but then the author of the movie then didn't proceed with the lawsuit, and we don't know. Nobody knows what happened. He's been very polite about it. If it was proper, here's some money, we didn't know or whatever, but it's never been documented. But the producers of this, they settled out of court, and apparently they settled out of court for a substantial amount of money. Let's say that, and it literally they're on about like it was nearly half of the budgets of Hunger Games. If that's true, that's the rumors. But literally, whatever that's like hundreds of millions. So if they got that. Yeah, there's it's obvious. They're like, there are so many things you're like, oh, and everybody I know who I go, oh my god, you saw Hunger Games, watch this, and they go exactly the same. They're like, oh, it's a bit obvious. Now,
no, it's a total. And for the record, this does it way better.
Yeah. Now, before I go on to what I love about this movie. Now, I need to go and get the audiobook because it makes me, just from what Sandy's saying, and even the manga, I'm not solving this. I've seen it. I've read it. I've seen this as back in. I got the DVDs and all that. It kind of makes me want to kind of explore more of the story, but I'm gonna get it. It's gonna piss me off because I love this more. Now it's kind of wanting me them to remake it. But with the kind of but if you get what I mean, it makes me go, I want to like not remake it as a bit like this. Sounds like it could be if they did it. I now when I mean remake it, I mean it can't be a Hollywood remake. They need to make it a Japanese production company, go in for it. And I mean it could be like if they did it, it's like a five seasons. We're set for 5 seasons. We know what we're doing. Have somebody clever to do it. But when I say that, I don't want it to happen because I love this movie. It's interesting what you said, and I kind of get your premise with it. But I love this movie. I really do like it, and I like it. I'm going to go for it. Like when I first watched it, like I must have watched this 2002, maybe it couldn't have been 2003. So let's say 2002. And I was like, wow, this is different. I've never, ever seen anything like this. So I still got that now. I still get the chills and I still get grabbed in. Like I've watched this so many times. Like I'm lost how many times I've seen this. But when I watched it yesterday again, like for how many other times, I got drawn in again. Yeah, I couldn't like get distracted. I didn't have to like again, like kids pick up their mobile. I didn't have to do that. I was watching this. I was immersed. I was into it. I wanted to know everything again. And I was like, but I've seen this before. I've seen this so many times. And I'm like, I was still drawn in. So that if you got like, as I say, time constraints, it sounds like if they added bits, it would have been better. Yeah, there's bits on it, as me and Jay have said, as only the movie viewers. That it didn't make sense, but did it draw me out? No, I just slipped over it and went, I can understand that because everything's going on and I love what I'm seeing. If I had to do it out of 10, it's a 9. This is going to be my top one of our reviews. Now, this is probably the shortest movie we've done, and it's probably the one I most enjoyed. Now, I love the other ones, but this is one because I think it's clever. Yeah, it's bloody, but it's very intelligently done. The concept of them, the the political bit that you kind of get a very like a script over at the start, and you know that disarray for a dystopian society in Japan, and then it crosses over to this like I'm gonna say it like a Hunger Games feel, but it's the battle royale, you know, and they've got things, and these kids have got to do what they need to do, and how I'm guessing like most of them are like they're either 18 to 20 25 actors, actors, and they portray it, everyone portray it as well. A lot of them didn't go on to do their own thing. Now somebody will tell you about the stunts and all that, but how the acting, everybody is well on it. I know it's very fast paced, but it's all continuous. It's a continuous story that keeps you grabbing. As soon as you get like, even a lot of movies that do flashbacks, they take you out that environment for a second, but like, and then you lose the premise of the movie. This just kept on going. It gives you that back and forth, and even the weird bits, it just knocks you back in. So for me, I adore this movie. I think it's really up there. Now, is it my top 10? No, it's in the top 20 easily. If I have to recommend this, boom. I think this was in when we did our recommendations. It was one of the top ones. I was beat, boom, boom, but it was straight there. You have to watch this, and it was because. Probably because I knew you probably too. You didn't watch it, but yeah.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
I'm gonna move across Sandy. Final the thoughts.
Yeah, I would have. You are exactly right. I would have never in a million years just watched this film or read this book. It didn't seem like it's anything that I would be interested in. I'm not interested in blood and guts and gore. I'm generally not interested in teen romance / those kind of films. And this is the magic of the wheel of film because I would have never done those things. I enjoyed every minute. Again, to listen to a 19-hour audiobook in 1 week. I do have a long commute, so it makes it, relatively easy. I couldn't stop reading. I could not stop listening to this book. And as far as the film is, I love the way it was shot. I love the actors. I think they did a tremendous job. As you said, these are teenage actors, maybe in their young 20s. Tremendous job. Subtitles is the way to go. You can obviously, hear the expression of the actors as they're, without the distraction of horrendous voices. By the way, for those who are watching now, I did also watch the dubbed version this morning just to laugh at it. It is horrendous. Don't do it unless you really want to laugh. The voices are terrible and there's no expression. I would give this film a strong 7. Maybe I'll start to take on Jay's approach, and maybe a 7.5 would be good. This is a definite recommendation, particularly for folks who think this isn't their genre. You know what? A good film, a well-made film with a good story is everyone's genre. Period. End of subject. You can quote me on that. So I'm really glad that you recommended this.
One thing I did, I said when we went offline, and I forgot the things I loved, and I'm just going to go backtrack to the music of this thing. I think they really did it clever of having European music as the main. So they had Bach in it, they had Strauss in it, Schubert was in it. I kind of love that. Yeah, it was like he was like he was at the start. I like that kind of play, and that's why Squid Games does it as well. They have that, and that was a nod to this movie. But I think that really, like, that grandeur, kind of that, like, it was like central, that German kind of Austrian, like really strong kind of music, and then that kind of romantic era they kind of did now and again. I thought that was very well, like, very cleverly done to like give you that sense of what's going on, but not having it as a Japanese nuance feeling into the music. I think that was quite cleverly done. I like that, so it was good. So yeah. So would you now, Sandy, are you going to now learn Japanese to get a first edition of the Japanese version?
I will not be getting a Japanese version, but I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot about the names. For those who may pick up the book, The book uses the given names while the film uses the surnames. So for 5 minutes, I thought it was completely different names in the film, but it
Uh,
is the same name. You just have to pay attention. No, and I probably won't be getting a first edition of this book, but I may get a hardback. I may actually get a real book. So great
and
recommendation.
how many pages has it got to be? That has got to be
A lot.
something.
Let's
Yeah,
see how many pages.
I wonder how many like hardback.
I have it up here. Does it say pages? I mean, I have the
Like if it's 19 hours, that's coming. That's
Yeah.
getting to like beyond. Like, is that beyond Lord of the Rings? That has got me like getting up there.
I've got the
That's-
Goodreads up here. Why can't I find it? It says
Ooh.
okay, filtered by okay. Doesn't say pages. Normally,
yeah.
these book descriptions tell you how many. Okay, I'm going to go to Amazon and find out how
There
many.
you go.
Okay, so
Why-
I can just tell you
Yeah,
Oh,
Hannah,
okay, there
what
you
you
go.
got
Because-
for
because-
because I know,
Fact.
I guarantee you they did this on purpose because this is not the
Oh my god!
normal.
No, you've been done already. Outdone, Smoot. If that's right, are you going to say 6?
Uh, is it?
But there's caveat to it. It's 666 pages, but and Stasis, you will know the books that you sent me, they are not your normal book size. So it's one of those big ones, and then it's 666 pages.
Oh, okay. Because we have the A5 size. I think it's called A5.
Yeah,
Which is
and
smaller, yeah.
that one is a custom size which is bigger than A4. That's a custom size that's bigger than A4, and then it's still 666 pages.
So it's coming to be between like an A4 and an A3. Really, it's kind of like that size?
It's basically A4 and a half. A3 and a half.
So it would be. I'm guessing it'd be like that's kind of. Sorry, this is just for book references. That's a non-standard book. This would be a normal hardback book size.
Yep.
Yeah,
That would be
and then it's still 666 pages, not counting the foreword.
I just picked up two really geeky books. Well, you can't. Well, we might have the English Civil War as a movie. The King Must Die. I don't think we have any Egyptian ones in there. Really interesting books, though. Sorry.
Wow.
We do have one. If we go by that, now let's see. Let's see how geek. I'm gonna just cover one picture. What movie is this? Anybody good?
I know.
Now, if I undo the cover, you probably get it from the picture now.
Oh, is it Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original guy who did the actual trying to find it, and that's what the it's actually from. Good.
Cool.
Great, yeah, very. It's literally Indiana Jones, but if you were literally an old man, literally your job was an archaeologist, but without a whip. That's it. But next, before we get to our guest, Jay, your first time as well, experience it as a movie. Let's go.
Yeah, first time watching it. So I mentioned before the show backstage that this was typically I'll watch these movies, the morning of this stream because I like to have it really fresh. This one I got a chance to watch yesterday, and I'm glad I did because my opinion of it changed over the course of the night and all day today coming up to this stream.
Sorry, Jay, can I stop you? Did you watch it with your wife?
No, this one I actually watched alone,
Okay.
which will tie into a little bit of what I'm going to say about the recommendation later on too. But so at first, honestly, the last 20 minutes or so kind of really fell apart for me. I really enjoyed everything else about the movie leading up to it. So I think the last 20 minutes not really working for me left me with a bad taste in my mouth kind of like immediately after it. So I was a little bit more down on it. So leaving the initial watch, I actually had it at about a 6. Now, as the night went on, I was kind of thinking of my ideas about it and what I thought. And, I started to dive more into the idea of, because it felt a little bit like maybe there was an editing issue where things just felt a little choppy story-wise in terms of it was kind of like, first we're here, now we're with this set of people here, this set of people there. And it kept moving along like that until I started to look at it from that Tarantino kind of perspective of, it being almost like little short stories kind of also filled with little pockets of emotion that the movie wanted to have, just not necessarily directly relating to one another, but connecting through the travels of Nanahara and Mitsuko, like I said earlier, to a degree. And once I started viewing it like that, it got a lot better for me in terms of the way they told the story and the emotional impact of those little different situations and different groups of people. The thing is, the ending still has the same kind of issues for me. So although it did come up to a solid 7 for me, I couldn't move it much higher than that, even though there is a lot that I love, even just fundamentally of the movie. With the acting is really good. I think, the characters I really liked. The way it was filmed, I think Sandy mentioned that, was also really good in terms of the cinematography and the look of it. So there was a lot that I liked about it. The ending just really let me down a tiny bit. Not even so much with the results in terms of, the 3 of them getting away, the teacher, getting his fate sealed and all that. I'm cool with all that. It was almost just the way that they got to those points that didn't work for me.
Now, I wonder, as you're both North Americans, I bet you this is not on your normal TV.
No, I don't think I've ever scrolled through and seen this.
There you go. This, even today, and the sequel, don't worry about that, but this is on our normal TV in the UK.
Really? Interesting.
Literally, you just watch it on demand, bang, do it.
Mhm.
Now, also, this is played quite often. This is literally on TV. You're gonna get on. You're gonna turn over a channel. It's on. It's on somewhere.
God. Is it censored? Is it
No.
sanitized?
After
No
9
kidding.
o'clock, you can do what you kind of want in the
Oh my
UK.
gosh.
Yeah, so you can, or you got like a PIN number for parental control. But I wonder if this was one of those movies that you could just flick over to, if them point systems would go on, because this was say every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. I like it a little bit more, and it's even if I watch like an hour of it, or I've caught the last little bit, or I've caught the first bit, and I'm flicking through. It's one of those ones when you flick, oh, it's on, and you sit there. Oh, I'm gonna watch something else in 30 minutes, but I can watch this, and I really like it. So I wonder, is it if it matures like a wine.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that, because I must say I liked it when I first watched it. It was like that, but it was the rewatches, and then it was like, getting the DVDs, getting the limited editions, and then going, I understand where they were coming from more. And I'm guessing you get that things.
I will tell you why it will never be on regular TV here in the United States. First, for the blood and guts of gore. And the second thing, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but they would have to chop out every scene of Shogo smoking, because you can't show smoking in the United States.
Oh yeah, I always forget about that.
But now,
yeah, now
it's such a
you might. I think you're allowed, within reason. Like you can have characters like having just throwing out the butt of the cigarette and putting it out.
Is that why it is? I'm not novel. I'm just gonna veer off here now. Is that why Netflix doesn't have any black and white movies?
Yes,
because it literally because of cigarettes.
No, Netflix is not regular TV. Netflix,
yeah, but I mean because it's regulated by.
Well, no, Netflix can do whatever they want in terms of that.
Yeah, Netflix.
In terms of the TV rating, like if they get a TV,
they can't have anything good on, but that's a different story. They probably
our regular networks like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, they can't run anything.
Netflix probably still has to abide by some rules. Like if it's TV 14, if you put certain amounts of people smoking in it, it probably bumps the rating to whatever. But but generally they can do it. Now, I will say one more thing before going on. So I would, so I do give it to 7. Now, in terms of the recommend or not recommend, for me, this one's kind of a little bit of a layered answer where I would recommend it to people who are, into film and are, open to being kind of a bit of an explorer when it comes to the movies they do watch. I don't know that I could recommend it to the average, moviegoer or film watcher, because I don't know if it works for them the same way. One, between the blood and the guts, which doesn't bother me, but I know some people, essentially what I'm getting at is the average person who really went to see the Hunger Games and made Hunger Games such a hit, I'm not sure will like this one. But I think a lot of the people who were dragged to the Hunger Games because, girlfriend or this, that, the other thing wanted to go see it, they're more movie buffs, but not necessarily into that style of, telling this story, will really, really appreciate and like this version a lot better.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we can understand.
I think essentially, I think your movie buff, I would recommend this too if they haven't seen it. Your casual movie watcher, I'm not sure it would work for them the way it would somebody who, likes film a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
Or
fair
just more
point.
explorative with what they'll watch.
Yeah. Okay, now we are gonna do the Wheel of Film, but for the next hour on their recommendation, I'm handing it over to Hammer. Because I'm guessing I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the critique of the film, what you remember of the book and the manga. So you have the platform as long as you want, and I will ask the question: do you recommend, and what do you feel about this film? Go.
I mean, what do I feel about Battle Royale? I mean, there's a reason I've seen it, not counting for this one. There's a reason why I've already seen it 9 times. So, would I recommend this movie? Very simple, yes. Outside of, if you're really squeamish about like people getting injured, whatever, like if you're really, but then you don't watching this anyway. Outside of that, yes, I would definitely recommend the movie. Because I'm fair, I would say 7.5 is a good rating. Because obviously it's not perfect. The ending has its flaws. And I'm lucky enough that I can do the thing of, okay, I know how it ends and I know how certain scenes are different in the manga. I do not bring that knowledge when I watch the movie. The movie is the movie. The other medium is the other medium. I rarely compare unless something is done really outrageously bad and or got changed for no apparent reason. Because if it's a time constraint, specifically if it was a time constraint by law, then yeah, good luck adapting anything into anything. Character-wise, some characters could have gotten more, honestly, could have gotten more shine than they have, but not enough to bring it down from being enjoyable. The kills are not overtly graphic, specifically because if you have not looked at it, I sent you the image of how Mitsuka dies against Kuriyama. And just if you look at that manga panel, that's not how she died in the movie. Stasis, if you look at it, I sent it to you on Discord.
Quickly go. Yeah.
Right? Because that's not how that scene. Okay, so apologies.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. It was definitely his mic. Holy moly.
Can you hear me?
Could you not
Yes.
hear that? It was. Go back and listen to the stream.
That is what happens when I get Discord. There you go. It's okay now. There you go.
Oh, heavens.
Okay.
It was wild.
Okay.
It was like
Yeah,
being in a
okay,
wind
so-
tunnel.
Oh, see, that's why I don't like opening Discord. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, funnily enough, I have.
Every time I don't know with something with StreamYard. There you go. What happens, people? Live. It's live. We're not professionals. But there you go. So never mind.
Professionally unprofessional.
Do not open Discord. There we go.
Yeah.
So, but that's
for you, because if I do it, it's fine. I've been on Discord the entire time.
Could the chat actually hear you guys and just not me?
No, all we heard was hurricane winds.
Yeah, hurricane winds.
There you go. Sandy ducks. She was like, what's going on outside? It's happening again. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, again, like I would definitely recommend the movie. Like 7.5 is fine. Again, nothing too overly graphic, specifically compared to other mediums. And obviously, we have all seen worse. And so then we have a little bit of trivia. And it's funny, I say a little bit. Because I mentioned earlier that the movie itself has a kill count of 173. Now, you might be wondering, how do we get to 173 if we only see 41? Because in the movie, and this is mentioned all in the movie, so we have Mitsuka murder a PDF. We have Shuya's father, who plays Hangman. We have the very, very first class, which is not the class that Kawada was part of, because he was in the second class. So we have the very, very first class that played the Battle Royale. They're all dead. That's 41.
With Andy's favorite picture. We'll have to bring it up again.
Then throughout
nightmare fuel right there.
So by the way, that's the winner. That's Mai.
So does it? Sorry, can I just break in there? Does it explain in the book and the manga this age? Because I'm guessing they're younger because she's holding a teddy.
No, that's a doll, and that's a gift from her mother.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not like they're younger; they're still grade 7.
Yep.
Yeah, she's just probably young looking, but phew, man, that is creepy.
So that's 41. So then in Kagawa's class, so we know 27 in total that are confirmed in Kawada's story. Then we got 8 unnamed boys from that same class. We got 4 unnamed girls. We got another unnamed student that we don't know if male or female, because you cannot tell from what's left. We got Onoki Keiku, who bled out, which is the second to last to Kawada. And so, yeah, that's another 84, which are all shown and or mentioned in the movie, which in grand total leaves you with 173 people dead, which is not a short number.
No,
because that's rather impressive. So, and then we got
Private Ryan territory there. Sorry, too soon?
No, not really. So, and then we got some funny business, because first of all, yes, this is still one of the top 10 highest grossing films in Japan domestically, a fact that has not changed since. I mean, it might change this year. By the way, top 10 live action movies, not counting animated movies. Then, fun fact, none of the actors had stunt doubles. They all did their own shit.
No kidding.
Yep. All of them were in for it, and it's not that they couldn't afford budget-wise any stunt double. It's like all of the actors were in for like, oh no, we're doing this, like easy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they still had a stunt team to guide them through what needed to be done, but they all did their own shit. So
It's
then,
actually interesting, given their age.
Yes, and then contrary to popular belief, the film was never outright banned in the United States. There are, however, several reasons why the movie came so late. And that is because Toei, who distributed the film, had a ridiculously high licensing fee towards America. And here is a very fun tidbit because the movie came out in 2000. Do you know which Japanese movie preceded this one that America royally fucked up?
Godzilla?
That's the 1999 Godzilla, and Japan was still very much pissed at that one. And this is why Toei put the licensing fee so high for America.
Interesting.
Yeah, they literally gave them the short end of the stick. So no, the movie was never outright banned, but because Toei was like, okay, we like obviously exaggerating, but it's like, okay, we get $1 billion or you fuck off. And America was like, hey, how about no? And that's why the movie took so long to be released in America. So then the movie was shot all over Japan, but the majority of it that was shot on the island is on Hachijo Kojima Island. It's an uninhabited island. It belongs to the Izu chain of islands and is roughly 250-ish miles off of the south of Tokyo. This is where you see, like, when you have the students standing near the cliffside, when they are on shore. This is where they literally, on the island, built the fake school where you have the classroom scene and everything. And it's, to this day, still an uninhabited island. And it's also where the final shot takes place when they leave.
Mhm.
It's still that island. It's Hachijo Kojima Island.
Wow. So I guess they had to build like temporary housing there, or
Yes.
and,
They
and
had
probably
temporary
filmed it
housing.
really quickly too, for as you know. Well,
Yeah, they basically filmed everything that they needed to film on the island first, and then filmed in consecutive order throughout Japan in the nearby cities.
cool.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now,
So
before
well, we have a few
keep
more.
going.
So the movie was originally, upon release, banned in South Korea due to graphic violence. It's meanwhile been lifted, so people can watch it. So then, and I found this one funny, in April of 2013, several years after the movie was put on the German Movie Index for youth endangerment media, the film was finally released from said index and has been watchable ever since. Because, yes, the movie was initially blacklisted in Germany because fucking censors suck. And then the painting, by the way, was created by so the painting that Kitano has was created by what's his name? I just had it. The painting was created by Takeshi Kitano, so the same actor that plays the teacher. He actually drew the picture.
Oh, whoa. That's even creepier. Now I'm even more creeped out.
Because like the idea was, okay, let's have an adult try to draw something childlike and make it look childish. And he's like, yeah, I can draw shitty shit. Just give me a fucking pen. And so he drew the prop himself. So the computer code listing that is shown during the hacking scene is a popular network for adulting hacking tools. That's actual code. It doesn't do what it says in the movie, what it does, but it is actual code that's being shown. And this is to me the funniest one. So in total, the movie had over 6,000 actors that went to go for the movie, and they got narrowed down from over 6,000 to 800, and those 800 were put to a 6-month training regime of physical fitness under supervision. And out of those 600 were the 43 cast members for the students picked. So they had over 6,000 people go in there and audition to be one of the 43 class members.
That's really impressive.
They all went through that little training?
Yeah, so over 6,000 showed up for auditioning. 800 got into the more narrow selection. All of these 800 went through a 6-month physical training period under supervision, And out of those 800, were the 43 students selected?
Oh, I would have been pissed if I didn't get picked.
You would be serious. I guess they got paid minimum wage.
But you'd be in
Like,
really
just
good
in a
shape.
way,
Yeah, fair
Yeah, you
enough.
come out. Hey.
I mean, okay, so if we want to close the little trivia section, out of those 800 that got into the narrow selection, all of them later found work in acting. So
Yeah.
I guess it worked even if you
Yeah.
didn't get picked.
Fair enough.
Nuts.
There you go. Guessing you got to be
Yeah.
committed. You've got to be. You wanted to be in that industry. You had to be like. You
Mhm.
knew this might be the next big thing, and you knew this is going to open thing like even. You know, to
Wait,
get
and
young
I forgot
stars getting there. Like,
and
you
I
know,
forgot the
that-
funny one. I forgot the funny trivia. In 2012, The Independent, for some reason, included Battle Royale on its top 10 best sports movies ever made list.
Really?
Oh my
Not
god.
sure why, but there we go.
You can kind of see it. There was maybe a baseball bat, maybe now and again.
Yeah.
There was archery. There was archery. There was archery.
Yeah,
there must
true.
have been shooting, archery. There we go.
But for some
Get the
godforsaken
colours.
reason, it ended up on the top 10 best sports movies ever made list from The Independent.
Now,
They
okay.
must have also thought it was a wrestling movie.
That's what I thought.
Here's what I think happened. They watched the movie Royal Rumble or Ready to Rumble, which is the wrestling movie, confused it with that one, and then said, "Yeah, that was really good. Let's put it on it." Because
I'm gonna ask
in the wrestling movie, they are partaking in a battle royale to throw people out of the ring.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm going to ask Sandy and a different question each. Sandy, would you recommend the book as well for people to read?
100%. I would recommend the book.
Now-
There's not even a question about it. Yep.
Would you recommend the manga for people to read?
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah. Now,
Like if that's even a question, oh hell yes.
Now, I'm going to draw literally your eyes to something, all four of you. Now, I just noticed it and I had to go and have a look. You know my collage that I've got in the back there? Random movies. This is the first movie on it. Look in the middle.
Is it?
Look in the middle.
I can't see. You're blocking it.
Look, no, in the actual middle of the corners of all our names. What can you see?
Oh my gosh, it is.
Oh,
It's
no
right
kidding,
smack in the middle. BR.
Bang, smack,
No
bang, in the middle. There it is.
How
Battle
cool is
Royale.
that?
I just literally, I was like, I wonder if it's on there. And I looked and I was like, oh my God, it's literally bang in the middle. 4 people. If Jay was here and it was just the 3 of us, you were there, we probably would have seen it.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
the fun. That's literally the funny part. If I was not here, the corners would not highlight that fucking logo.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
I was like looking at it, I was like, oh my God, they actually highlight the BR. So
Yep.
that's it. So there you go. So it's not little fun fact for the film club. Now, should we do it?
It's that time.
It's that time. This is
Cat.
the
We got to get a
The
little like,
time.
drum
Now,
roll sound, some cheers,
now
the whole
I'm
thing.
gonna have to say do we always say what are we looking for? Sandy, it's got to be yours. We got to do it. It's got to be one of yours. I don't
Yeah,
care.
we're due.
It's
We're
got to be a
overdue.
Sandy pick. Now I'm gonna guess it's
Apollo
not
13.
because I think you've been
It's not
a bit
going to be Apollo
unlucky.
13. That'll be the
Apollo
last
13,
movie
no,
we
I'm
ever
gonna
watch.
will it into existence.
No, I'm looking for. We've had a couple of dark movies. Next one, I'm guessing, is the most sci-fi. We picked Star Wars. Is the next one.
Okay, great.
So again, we've not had anything comedy or light-hearted. So Sandy, I'm hoping you do it. I'm guessing, Sandy, you just want one of your picks.
I've got a really annoying one on there that people absolutely hate, and it's called What About Bob? And boy, that would be great. That would be a good palate cleanser. It's very lighthearted. There's actually a lot of layers to that film that some people don't really notice. So yeah, we'll see. But hey, it doesn't have to be my pick because I'm just really happy with all the, books
Okay.
that I've
If you
read.
had to put money on
that
it,
I would've
who
never-
as it's been Jay 2 times now, it'd be mine and then mine again. So I'm guessing Who? If you had to pay the odds, it's got to be you, hasn't it?
I think so.
I mean, the odds would say, "Oh God, Sandstorm the movie." Abe, go away.
God.
Find the film with the most annoying music that goes.
Oh my God!
with
The
it.
only movie I know that's got a sandstorm in it, it would be really good sandstorm is The Mummy.
Can't even think of one.
Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark has a sandstorm in it. I'm good with that. Yes, Ben, Richard Dreyfuss is fantastic in What About Bob? But what else is Richard Dreyfuss in? What else is Richard Dreyfuss in? Oh, he's in Jaws.
Oh, that's right.
He's in Jaws.
If you like your alternative history, that is a
Really?
great book. Really great book.
Interesting.
The two Georges, easy to know who they are. Washington and King George the Third.
And G3.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Really interesting book. There you go. Richard
Interesting.
Dreyfuss. There you go. So bend over. Thank you for that. Jay, what are you hoping? Just
Apollo 13. That's my guess. That's what I want.
you're gonna go for Apollo 13.
Into existence.
Now I should do that. Now,
Eventually I'll be
you're not one of the partner picks. But go on, give us your thoughts. What are you hoping for us to do? It won't be the next one. It'll be the next one. Go on. What are you going to hope for us?
I mean, the movie that I would hope for you is not up for debate. So,
What is it? What is it? What if you had to pick? Maybe it's on the list.
no, we already went through your list. I know it's not on there.
Okay. There you go.
You showed off the list, so I already know it's not on there. Because I would hope, like I actually had two hopes, given that I'm pretty sure either none of you have seen it, or when maybe one would be either A Silent Voice or Grave of the Fireflies.
No, it's not on there.
Never seen it.
Not on there. Not on
Yeah,
there.
I know both of them are
Not on
there.
there. I can't remember. Oh, we got Beverly Hills Cop. There you go. That'll be a bit of amusement. Okay.
That'd be a nice
I don't know.
change.
Oh, what is it? What we got? Hold it. If we did it, what's it? A Bridge Too Far. It's coming up for the anniversary, wasn't it? There you go. Could be that. I don't know if is that on there. Bridge
We still have, Dame Maggie
it's
to
not there,
honor.
mate.
You
Yeah,
never
we
know.
do.
We could have Clash of the Titans. We could have Clash of the Titans.
Yeah. Or yeah. Well, we got it. Should we? Are you ready? Chat.
I'm ready.
Let's get ready. We're doing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click. The silence. Ooh.
Oh my goodness. Talk about a war film.
Basis for this must be a stasis pick.
Yep,
This is one of mine. It is very much okay. There you go.
All right, I got a book to read.
Yeah, Rommel. So we're going. Okay, we're going Rommel. Okay.
Definitely on the opposite end of life.
That is completely different. That is different. No, but is it? So we're going. German decorated
infantry
war officer.
leader.
Yeah, Rommel. So yeah, this is the early one. I can't remember when this came out. The Desert Fox. So yeah, this is. Oh my God, I got 3 in a row. Then I got 3 in a row. There you go.
Fixed.
Yeah,
that is my
something's rigged here.
You got your thumb on the wheel. Thumb on the
90.
scale.
There you go. Jay's not seen that. Jay's definitely not seen it. And
No,
1951.
Wow.
Nope, definitely haven't.
Wow.
So yeah, so there you go. So yeah,
I'm sure I've seen it in the many, many, many war films that I have studied, but it'll be a good watch. I like war films, so that'll be good.
So wow. Okay, there we go. So I'm going lucky. I'm going lucky at the moment. So yeah, so we're gonna have this is a good one. I must say, I do like this. This is actually this is a good movie. I'm not being horrible. This is a good one to see. So
who is that?
Yeah,
James
Desert
Mason.
Fox.
Oh, I love me some James Mason. I can't do the voice. You can do the voice.
It's a very weird one for the time because he's a very revered German officer. But for 1951, you wouldn't think they would do it about a German officer.
He was respected though.
Exactly.
I guess if you were to pick any of that crew, and you would speak with, appreciation for his military tactics from I get to do the historical perspective. It would be Rommel. He wasn't of the baddies. He wasn't the baddest of the baddies. I guess it's okay to say.
Oh, but sorry, do you know what also this is? This is our first black and white movie.
Oh, we did.
Oh,
We
nice.
got a black and white
Yeah,
film.
they got a black and
Nice.
white movie. There we go. So awesome. So we
Nice.
got a bit of a so we're gonna go through Nazis in space to actually look like into the desert. So we're
Well,
gonna
it's
go
our
for that. So we got
second
Star Wars. Yeah, but these aren't
German
these are actually
military
German
World War
military. They're
II
not actually
film.
to be
Yeah.
actually honest. So we're gonna go for that.
The funny thing is, you go through Nazis in space, and I'm like, wait, you're watching Iron Sky?
Star Wars.
But Iron Sky is literally Nazis.
Yeah,
in
Nazis in space. Yeah, you can't beat that. No, that's gone. But yeah, okay, there we go. It's 3 in a row for me. I'm on a roll. I'm on a bit of a
Oh my
roll.
gosh. Who's in
What?
this film? I think this
Oh, yeah.
woman literally just died a few years ago. Jessica Tandy. I think she was married to Hume Cronin. I think they both lived to 100. Like
Let's have a look.
she was old back then, and she's
Jessica. Oh yeah, she's in it. Oh my
when
god,
did she
yeah.
die?
1994.
She died in 94. It
Born
seemed
1909.
okay. She was only 85. Okay, she always seemed like 100.
Batteries not included. Fried green tomatoes come to mind.
She was always an old lady.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's she's that 90s. Everything in the 90s when it was like that 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and it was her and her husband. Her and her husband.
Well, 90s,
I'm not
94,
recognizing
94, so
anyone else in the
she's
cast.
94. So yeah, 94. So yeah, you find it like she feels like a night. Like when's Whistle Stop Cafe? When's that? 91.
I think we're
oh my god, I thought batteries are not included.
I know,
87.
seriously. Yeah.
Wow, makes you think. Driving Miss Daisy, 89. I thought they were 90s.
She was
movies.
Miss Daisy.
I thought they were 90s movie, dude. Yeah.
Yep.
I really thought they were 90s.
She's in all the old people movies. Cocoon.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is like that's the era that we grew up with. But I thought they were 90s, but they're like 80s. So she's 94. So yeah, man's up. Yeah, I thought.
She's the old lady in the Birds. She's the lady who comes in to buy the birds in the Birds.
Oh my god, yeah.
She's in. But she was a stage actress as well. One of the few, I suppose, revered American actors who actually started on the stage. But wow, what a career. From 1932, her first screen credit was in 1932. Her last screen credit in 1994, the year she died. So 62 years on screen. God bless.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That is good. There you go.
And then James Mason. I only ever know people from like mocking his voice. He had that very distinctive voice, James Mason. And
so I'm guessing. So can I ask, is this another movie you both haven't watched?
I have. I've seen it. I just don't remember it.
Okay. Jay, 1951.
Nope,
I'm guessing not.
Never seen it.
There you go. Yeah. It is a very revered film. By me, I like it. It wouldn't be on the list. It wouldn't be on the list if I didn't like it. But yeah, it's another one. So yes. Cool. Excellent. There we go. Final thoughts, anyone?
No, I think this was a good pick. This was, I think Sandy said earlier, this was one that I probably wouldn't have watched or wouldn't have had on my radar because I didn't really even know it existed. So once again, the wheel is blessing us with some good movies.
Yeah, I do like the wheel. But it's good having the different genres, the different every like aspects, different time zones. It's quite good, and having like across the pond what you do and what we know as well. So that's quite good. But I'm gonna say for when we do the next one, I do apologize. I'm just gonna have to apologize. Now my girlfriend said, "Do you want me on?" And I'll be a panelist just to say the disgruntled, sad girlfriend that have to put up with this shit. And then the worst thing is, when it came out, I think I said this, I actually was watching it the day before. So I do, yeah. So we're gonna have a bit of back and forth about that. The Star Wars. Let's go.
Yeah, well, it'll be nice to talk about some good Star Wars for once.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, indeed.
For certain,
So-
it will be nice.
Yeah, so the next one is Star Wars, as known now, Episode 4, A New Hope. But we're talking about now, it'd be quite interesting our differences in the different versions. I'm guessing that's going to come up quite a bit because it's been digitally remastered, remade, like edited to oblivion. I'd be love to have a VHS player because then I've got 3 different versions of the VHS down there to be quite interesting, and the background of how we things. But that will be, I think this is it our first real science space
Yes.
one, isn't it, as well? Yes, it is. So yeah, we got our first war movie after. This was our first kind of we got first. So this was our first foreign movie. Then we've got our first sci-fi space movie. Then we've got our first black and white. And I think this is our first war movie.
Well, technically, Great Escape
Great
was
Escape.
war, but not
yeah,
war,
yeah,
so to
yeah.
speak, you know, not
Yeah.
that frontline stuff. So
I call it
yes
a war
and
movie.
no.
It's a true story. So I
Yeah,
think
I
Great
suppose
Escape
it is,
is
yeah.
I count it a war movie, but
This is our
I'm always
first
up for
kind of like
history.
battle movie, war movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And the funny thing is, Stasis, you already preemptively apologizing for next week. You are lucky that, I mean, as much as I like Battle Royale, but you are lucky that none of the movies I would actually never shut the fuck up about. Because
we're gonna
otherwise
get
you
there.
would run into problems.
I'm guessing Apollo 13, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Jaws and Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park are gonna
Yeah.
set me off. Yep.
They're gonna set you off, and Jay's got his ones on there that we know about. So there's gonna be I'm gonna bite my tongue. Let's say when we do it, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen and then just go boom. Don't know why. I don't know why.
And because I could literally name drop you 4 movies, and I would be the absolute worst guess on there for all 4 of them, and none of them are on your list, so your ass is safe.
We're in the clear.
We're in it. But we only constrained it to how many was it? Like 280 something.
Only
No.
289.
We'll work through
only.
those, then add some.
Yeah, only. So we've got a little while left. There you go. 200 and was it 200?
I think it was 78 or something.
Oh yeah, 279. There you go.
79.
I think
And
once
79.
a year we add one, and we'll still be good until we're 90. I think
Yeah, there
until
we go.
I'm 90. I think I'm the oldest of you all, so
And
I'll be 90
still
first.
won't pick a comedy. We still won't pick a comedy. Still
Oh my gosh!
Nothing
I'll just
lighthearted
be
will ever
waiting
come
for
up.
something. It'll all be these heavy duty.
So is the Desert Fox a book as well?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
It's got to be. There's got to be Rommel books.
Even
So
if it's
gonna
not,
be
I'm gonna do
historical.
my
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
Yeah,
my
research.
homework, because it's history. Let's look. Based on what is it based on?
It's
I
got.
gotta find it.
It's
It
got
has
to
be.
be. You would think.
Yeah.
You would think it would be.
It would be funny if the movie has a book, but the book came out later.
It's got. I say.
Let's see. It's taking me a minute because everything's coming up with the Desert Fox, like his nickname. I have to put that in quotes. The Desert
Let's have a look if it is. It's about.
Fox
See.
film.
See,
Yeah.
I always say, I always recommend you watch this movie and then you watch the other side. It's called the Desert Rats. If you want to do that, that's up to you.
It's a book.
So the Desert Fox is Rommel's side, and the Desert
Mhm.
Rats is a different movie, but from the British side.
Mhm.
So it's quite good. The Desert Fox, I would say, is a better movie than the Desert Rats, but they're quite good. They're both
Yeah,
together.
it's it is a book, and the description of the quick description of Rommel here, again, based on propaganda, but the book was written by an American, so it says that this book and film depict Rommel as a loyal, humane soldier who opposed Hitler's policies, which is what I've learned from history. Again, that he was not of the same ilk as the rest of the leadership. However, didn't leave, so you had that choice there, dude.
Mm.
But was also someone that is studied for his military tactics, which is always a value. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but yeah, he played James Mason. Is it James Mason? He played the Rommel in both films, and the other one's got Richard Burton in it. There you go.
Oh, excellent.
So before he was with Elizabeth Lizzie. So yeah, but on that note, Sandy, what you got coming up?
I got no reading this week since Star Wars does not have a book that I need to read. Just I had a wonderful day today doing some filming, so I'm always catching up on my history stuff that I post to my channel. Just there for history nerds and anyone doing research on the Sandy Q channel, and then instructional videos on the Primary Sources channel. So I'm looking forward to our next time here. Jay, what do you got?
Yeah.
Much like last week, nothing in particular.
When are you streaming, Jay?
I know. I got to get back into it. It's been a little bit.
You got to get a scary one. It's coming up to Halloween.
Yeah.
Americans love Halloween. You got to get a scary one.
I do. I have a couple games in mind for that. So hopefully this week I'll finally get back into some streaming. Outside of that, random videos I'm working on. Penguin stuff's going to keep going. I watched that movie Wolves with Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Oh, any good? Is it worth me?
It's a solid watch. It's nothing crazy.
Okay. I was going to put it on.
It's an enjoyable watch, especially with your significant other. It's a nice little movie night, kind of, right? Yeah, something to watch. It's a little different. Nice to see those two back together. They got a good chemistry. But outside of that, I'll be back here next week doing Star Wars and random videos and streams, hopefully along this week.
And the man who loves having. I'm going to say you're going to love a franchise on Twitter at the moment. How's it going with Assassin's Creed? Let's just put it that way.
I mean, Ubisoft is basically about to be bought by fucking Gilmont and Tencent, so I could not be happy about that. Hopefully they shut that shit down immediately. Like, just shut the entire thing down. Like, nothing of value is going to be lost, so who cares?
They've already lost money on it, most likely. So.
Yeah, like honestly, there's nothing of value going to be lost if they buy that. It's going to be funny to see anyway, because like Ubisoft has so many employees for no apparent reason. It's funny if you look at Shift Up, who made Stellar Blade, 167 people. Game Science, who made Black Myth Wukong, 185 people work at the studio. Ubisoft employs over 20,000 people. For what?
I can't say what I think it is. We'd be kicked off of YouTube. Yeah. But it rhymes with honey, and like what
starts with a B?
what rhymes with laundering? I can't think of a word that rhymes with laundering.
Pondering.
Randomly.
Yeah,
pondering. Yes. Honey
pondering.
Sounds like honey pondering. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the positions, like, and this is no joke. Some of the positions, people are literally hired by the company to get the office workers coffee. That's a job.
Mm.
Yeah,
Did we mention that Ubisoft is a French studio, by the way? So it all makes sense.
There you go. But yeah, cool. Anyway, it was absolutely brilliant you being here for Battle Royale. I knew when I said, come on, you're going to enjoy it. And I hope you did. I hope you've liked being on the panel. Our first special guest. So
yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, that's been great. And I hope the chat, you enjoyed it. Our first foreign movie for these bloody Americans. Bloody hell.
How dare you?
At least we got London. I said no dub.
Hey, it's because of our work ethic. We don't have time to watch films.
Exactly.
We're the ones working 80 hours a week, not 12 like those French people.
Oh, there you go. Us Europeans like to put our feet up now and again, so that's fine. Yes, let you do the hard work. That's it. But yeah, I hope you grade it. Yeah. So next one will be Star Wars, followed by the Desert Fox, and then maybe Sandy will get one day.
Yeah.
Like that,
Fingers
like that,
crossed.
you know, you may get one. But
Well, now we're going
from
to
a-
count how many. Like now, it's got to be a streak. Now we got to go like 10 at least
that's
without it
free-
being
that-
one of
that
mine.
is-
Mhm.
That is free. That is 3 in a row for me, Alan. So that's it.
Hey,
But
but it's good for me. I get to watch films I haven't watched. It's
there
great.
you
Yeah,
go. There you
fair
go,
enough.
Indeed. We'll wait till I get some weird ones on there. There are some weird ones I've whacked in there. You're like, what is this? What was he? What was like the worst thing? You'd be like, he must have been on drugs at the time, and then you'd be like, but I know he didn't do drugs. So what the hell was going on with that?
And then I'll say, oh my God, I love this film. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
I love
That's it. Wait to Delicatessen. Wait, that's all I've got to say. Wait.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I hadn't heard of.
That's it. Yeah. But everybody, I hope you really, really enjoyed a little bit of Film Club, Battle Royale. And then until I have to apologize a lot for Star Wars. Goodbye. Have a great one. Have a great rest of the weekend. Bye for now.
Bye bye.